time to get rowdy. You know I wanna work that body. Come work it over here. You can be my brown eyed beauty.
I'm back. I'm always back. You guys are like, what the hell? You guys are here every single day. If you subscribed, you must be like, it never stops. Bling, bling, another one, another one. I don't sleep. I just work. And I'm excited because by popular demand, he's back. You guys apparently love my boy because he's the most downloaded podcast I have. So, without further introduction, I bring you back James Aarons. Say what's up, buddy.
What's up, man? Thank you so much for having me back, and to all the subscribers and the people who downloaded and checked it out, thank you so much. I'm very grateful for that. That's amazing, and I'm glad you like what Kenny's doing, and I'm humbled that you actually like what I'm doing, what I said last time I was here, so thanks.
Yeah, I was showing my daughter. I'm like, look at this, look at this. Nobody cares about me. You know? It's called KPC and JPC. Like, the only downloaded episode is my introduction of me, which is like 30 minutes long. So we just put up with it. They're like, oh, we'll listen 30 minutes. We'll be nice.
Yeah.
And then yours is an hour and a half and it has as many hits, freaking 45 downloads in a week. I'm like,
well, thank you. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. That's amazing.
And that was without the video. Now that we got a video going on, it's gonna be a whole other thing.
So,
I think I'm too loud. I'm a loud mouth. Turn my mic down a little bit. What do you think, audience? Should I shut the fuck up?
yeah.
So, how does it feel to be popular? That's not true. Jamie's been popular for a long time, actually. As long as I remember, everybody in the gym is always like, oh, you know Jamie? Especially, like, it's really funny. I mean, you're married, 30 years, right?
No, 20. 25, but
25.
We've been together for 32 years, yeah.
At this point, what's the difference? But for last, as long as I've known Jamie, it's so funny. The amount of women be like, do you know that man? Like, yeah, I know him. Is he single? No. That's okay. Give my number. That's okay. Like, get that away from my boy, man. It's not going to happen.
Might be okay with me, too, at this point. It's a long time. It's been a long time.
The funny part is, Jamie, they're never good looking.
Oh, well, yeah.
Maybe in their mind they are, but it's always like, yo, what do you think about this? It's so funny. I was going to bring this up anyway. So, does this ever happen to you? I don't know. It happens to a lot of people. It doesn't happen to me because if you go to the gym with me, you know I don't talk to any girls at all. Very rarely. I can name the ones that I talk to on my hand to actually say hi to. In general, if you're near me in my vicinity, I don't care. I don't want to talk to you. That's my home away from home. I don't need no drama. Because what I've seen is in the gym, I don't know if you've seen this or not. The second a guy is like, hi, how are you? Are you new here? The first answer you get is, I have a boyfriend. Like, did I ask you if you have a boyfriend? Something like, you have Tourette's? Something wrong with you? What's going on with you? The boyfriend. I don't understand that. I didn't give a fuck if you're a boyfriend or not. Who cares? But for some reason, women think that every guy in the gym is out to hit on them. I came there to work out. I was just being kind because I've never seen you before.
Well, you can't blame them because most guys.
I should blame them.
Well, these girls. I think it would be hard to be a girl in the gym. Especially, first of all, the look scale goes up. What 5 points? If you're a 2, you're a 7. If you're a freaking 8, or a 9, or a 7, you're a 10. I mean, also depending on the ass factor with those.
That changes everything. It's so sad.
Changes everything, man.
It's so insane. You could be like the most average looking girl, and if you have a nice ass, automatic 5 points up. 5 points up,
man.
It's actually one time. This is a long time ago. My wife was with me actually. This is when I was still married, a long, long time ago. We were actually in the car one time and walking away in Brooklyn somewhere, and this girl walked by. Unbelievable body. Honestly, when I was married, I kind of stopped looking because I had my wife. I didn't really give a shit. But she was always looking now because she's used to being with me. And she looks and she goes, "Oh my God, look at that girl's ass." And I look at her and I go, "Honey, it's called a butterface." She's like, "What do you mean? What does that mean?" And she's like, "You don't get it? I don't understand." Like, everything is great about the face.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, and you care?" I'm like, "I'm insulted. I married you. What does that mean?"
Wow.
She was like, "Oh, I didn't know you care." I'm like, "Okay, I guess
Yeah.
she knew me pretty well."
But like I said, girls, I think I give them a pass because every guy is pretty much hitting on them. If you do say hello to them, it's you know, I like to play this little game. You know, I it's like my favorite sport to try to get girls to kind of like me. You know, I'm not going to do anything, but I like to, you know, flirting. I don't flirt, but I will talk to them. And I'll ask them, hey, you know, what's going on, and what's your workout, and this and that kind of thing. But the payoff for me is maybe they'll like me, and then, you know, feeds my ego, and it's great. And then it's like, I don't know what I would do. It would be like a dog when your dog chases a car.
Finally gets the car.
Yeah,
What
what are they going to do with the
you got this Scooby?
So I'm the dog, and the girls are the car, and, you know, that kind of thing. So, but like I said, man, it's tough to be I think a girl in a gym, because every guy is pretty much hitting on you. That's just the way it is.
I don't know, man. I mean, no, it's really funny. If I talk, I'm generally interested. I did see something the other day. I think her name was Sarah. I think she was benching next to me, and like I was doing chest. I hadn't seen her before, so she's like, I'm new here. She actually works some other gym, so she came to our gym to work out. And nice girl, pretty strong too. But that was the height of my interest. Like I'd never seen you before, because we were in that gym since like 1997, right? So we know everybody there. So it's funny. I was hearing. Shout out to my boy Nick Rizzo. I love your podcast, man. You're an inspiration. I was listening to his podcast the other day, man. He was talking to him, and Lindsay were talking about the people who were like furniture there. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, wait a minute, it's me. He's talking about me, damn it. He's talking about me and Jamie. Like, we're the furniture there. We're always there. And it's really funny because like Nick was just kind of laughing about it. Lindsay's like, but I like the furniture. It's nice to see them again. And it's still true, because I mean, we know everybody who's been there for forever. You know, like Gary, the PT. My God, I've known Gary since I was a kid.
Yeah.
He looks about the same too, which is really weird. He's not aging.
He's not aging at all.
I don't know what's going on with that.
And you know, we joined there when we were like 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah.
He and I and a couple of other people. There's actually a guy in the gym named Mike who remembers me from the other gym we went to before. It was called All American in Syosset.
Mike, the big Italian dude?
No. This guy Mike. His name's Mike Sheriff. He's a bit of an older guy. Maybe he's 70. You know,
Okay.
but he remembers me. He's like, he tells me all the time, he's like, I remember you when you were just a 17-year-old kid at the other gym. He still looks at me, and I'm one of the older guys in the gyms now. And he's like, he still looks at me like I'm freaking 18 years old, which is pretty hilarious, you know?
You know, he used to drive crazy. We had this guy in the gym. So when I was younger, right, I was pretty naive, and then obviously I figured out what homosexual, heterosexual, all that means, right? And I didn't realize that we had so many men in the gym who were homosexual. And now that I think I really don't care at all. It means nothing to me. But I used to harass this guy, Frankie, all the time. If you remember Frankie. He had to go to...
Big gay Frank?
Yeah. It was so funny. He walked up and like, Frankie, I'm your type, right?
Oh,
No, I'm like... I used to get insulted. Like, hold the hell on. What do you mean I'm not your type? Have you seen me? You don't want me? He's like, no. I'm like, I used to generally get... I'm like, what the hell? Why does this gay guy want me? I used to bug him every day. I'm like, Frankie, today's the day, right? He's like, no, get the hell away from me. I'm like, come on. Why can't you give me a chance?
That's hilarious.
We did this for a long time. And it was funny because you remember I took a hiatus in the gym when I got married because I had moved. So from like 05 to like 10, I didn't come. And I saw Frankie when he came back. We're chit-chatting, talking, and all that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Frankie, you know, I've known you since I was 18 years old, right? He goes, I don't know you, guy. Who are you? So I had to show him a picture. He was like, oh, no, you. Oh, my God. You're still here? I'm like, I came back for you, Frankie. I came back to the gym for you. I had fun with that guy.
Well, I thought Frank was like, wasn't he like, perpetuating that he wasn't gay? He never really, he never definitely came out and said it. He was literally, obviously, the gayest guy in the gym at the time. But he actually, I thought he was like, kind of like, no, I'm not gay, I mean, not that I ever brought it up with him, but one thing he did, I'll tell you what he did to me that was overtly homosexual, and it was a little bit, if it was more than overtly, it was pretty bad. So I asked him to give me a lift, right?
Okay.
No, a spot.
Oh, I think I remember this.
I was doing shoulders, right, and I wanted to get. I figured if I can't get the dumbbells up, I was doing dumbbell shoulder presses,
Right.
And I figured if I can't get the dumbbells up by myself, I have no business doing them, So I never liked getting the break, I never liked getting. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna lift them up, and then I'm trying to get whatever it is, 8 to 10 reps.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, am I getting you up? And I'm like, no.
I remember this.
I'm not getting you up,
dude.
I'm like, dude. He's like, I'm just gonna lift them up, but am I getting you up? He must have said it 5 times.
Yeah.
But am I getting you up? Am I getting you up? I'm like, dude, I know what you're saying. I know what
I remember how aggravated you were. That's why I still remember.
I'm still aggravated. It's freaking 25 years ago, man. That overt, covert, freaking sexual, freaking ridiculousness.
I remember you were annoyed, and I went back and like, you Frankie, you cheating on me?
Oh,
The
man.
fuck? He's like, what? I'm like, that's it? He's your type, I'm not? Oh, it's like that, huh? Okay, all right. And then worse to me was, remember Mark?
Your boy Mark.
Yeah, he was just as bad, man. Me and him would get together. It was horrible. Like, we would bug the shit out of him all the time. The funny part is, Frankie would try telling me that my other friend, who still goes to the gym, Mark, Tall Mark, that he's gay. I'm like, he's not gay.
No.
Like, no, he's gay. I'm like, he's not gay.
He's just neat.
Yeah, stop trying to
He's
get away.
put together.
You're just trying to push your stuff away from him, but like, he's not gay. He's actually, I talked to him the other day. He's an awesome guy.
It's classic projection, man.
Yeah.
It's projection.
Shout out, Mark, man. You're awesome, bro. I've known you for like 20 years, too.
We love you.
Yeah.
No, because
Let me write that Corvette.
not to sound, I went to theater school, right? So I went to school for theater, right?
Yeah.
My degree is in theater. I went to a school called the American Musical and
That's your
Dramatic
degree,
Academy
really?
in the city. Yeah.
I keep learning new shit every day. John has a freaking degree in psychology. I'm like, what's
wow.
going on?
Wow.
I had no idea. I'm like, no wonder Lyndon brainwashes people to liking him.
And all we do is work out, so it's ridiculous. But we use it as best we can. Anyway, yeah, so my degree is in theater, right? And I went to theater school, and as you may imagine, there's an overwhelmingly,
Yes,
high majority of homosexuals.
Yep.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Please don't get us wrong. We have nothing against
I have a lot of gay friends. I have a lot of trans friends, actually. so-
whatever, man. I'm here. I'm queer. Get used to it.
Yep.
It's all good. But they definitely back then, talk about like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
They were trying to they try to Jedi mind trick you. Like, well, everybody does it. Why don't you do it? Everybody tries it. Everybody's curious. And then if you're not strong in your sexuality, you might be like, well, I don't know. Maybe if everybody does it, maybe I want to do it. So, but I was asked out a lot. And,
I'm sure.
by guys, which is disheartening because all I'm trying to do is get laid
But at
with
least
girls.
you realize that I was 17 when I started modeling and did the little Ralph Lauren stuff. And I was doing ramp modeling, just walking. That's it. No pictures and stuff. And I didn't realize that I was the only straight man there, really. I got all these comments, and I'm like, I just took them nicely. Like, nice ass. I'm like, I know. It's mother kicking. It's some Taekwondo. You should try it. Like what the hell? Like, oh, nice ass. I'm like, I do 2,000 crunches a day. I wasn't even thinking about, like, they're hitting on me. I was more like, yeah, I work really hard. Thank you so much.
Right.
And then I think one day somebody was like, actually asked me, like, how does it feel to be the only straight guy walking around? I'm like, what do you mean? I don't walk in a crooked line? What do you mean? You want me to I walk too straight? He's like, no. You like women, right? I'm like, of course. He's like, well, only you sound like women here. I'm like, what do you mean? What? It literally took like 5 minutes to pop in my head. And then I started noticing, things like how they all wear nice dress socks and kind of tight jeans.
Oh man,
That
now you're really,
I didn't, because I didn't see any, I didn't look at any of these things, which actually kind of screwed me up because I was in college. I made a buddy, I won't say his name, because even my daughter knows what I'm talking about. I made a buddy, he showed up at this little meeting we had, and he was wearing dress pants and dress socks, and had his leg folded over and stuff, and he had the hand movement a little bit here and there, which is cool, We hung out, we were really cool. I thought he was an awesome guy. And we were going to the Subway, and while we're going there, listen, I just want you to know, I'm cool, bro. I said, what do you mean? I'm cool with it, bro. I'm just saying, your lifestyle is cool with me. Just, I just want you to know I don't feel that way. It's just in case there's any misconception. He said, Ken, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, you like guys. He was like floored. What the hell are you talking about? I'm a pervert. I like women. I'm like, no, you don't.
Oh
I'm like, what are you
man.
talking about? Look at the way you walk. He's like, what's wrong with the way I walk?
Oh no,
What are you talking
man.
about? I'm like, look at the way you dress. What's wrong with the way you dress? I'm like, you don't see anything wrong with the way you.
Well, wrong. I mean, wrong is a big word, man.
I know, but back then I'm 18 years old.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah.
start is totally different than us. And then it's really funny. This funny thing was when I went to his house and I met his father. I was like, oh,
So I was the same way.
exactly like him.
Well,
Just walk, talk, the whole thing. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, well, that's his male figure. What am I going to say, Daniel? I have nothing to say to this poor guy. We tried to acclimate him into society.
acclimated.
We really did. We tried. We were like, I'm going to party with you guys. I'm like,
Oh, I bet you got the women.
something would happen to you. I don't know. Like, we were thugs. I mean, I was in gangs. I was not the not the best kid. I rolled in a pretty deep crowd.
What'd you say? Goodest?
Good. Say like that word, right, guys? That's why I got my education.
It's a good word.
So, he really wanted to go, and there was this house party. I'm like, no, man, I don't want to take you. Let's take him to a club party. He can't get hurt there. So, small club, no big deal. Tiny party, like 100 people. And we get him ready. I had to go through all his clothes, buy him jeans that were looser. Back then, Chico jeans were in. Had to buy him like not a Hilfiger, maybe like a FUBU shirt, something a little more thuggish. Maybe some boss stuff. Got him ready. Tried teaching him to walk for like half an hour.
Teach him to walk.
Yeah, me and Abe, if you're listening, I love you, bro. You remember this shit. It took us half an hour to teach him how to walk. It didn't work. So finally, I looked at Abe. He looks at me and goes, yo, let's just fucking go. Let's just give up. Like, here's the deal. Anybody says anything to you, be like, I don't know. Ask my boy K. Ask my boy K. I'm like, okay, I got this. Go to the party. Party's not bad. It's a little lame. Nobody's really dancing too much. It's okay. A bunch of thugs there. Like, I knew the fight was about to break up. I'm like, I'm gonna be in the middle of this thing. Let me get out of here. Where the hell's my boy? Anybody seen my boy? I can't find my boy. Dude, the guy went to the bathroom and he got like jumped in the bathroom.
Oh no.
Because they were like, what are you doing here? Who you here with? You're walking like that. You in here with nobody we know. What you want here? Ben went in, they had him like against the urinal. And it got physical. I didn't have a choice. Like, yo, that's my boy. Back the fuck up. Like, yeah, this is your boy? Like, yeah, this is my boy. You got a problem with that? And then it turned into this whole thing. Like, they were like, oh, you think that's your boy? And then my other friend came in and I felt bad for him because he was really scared.
Yeah.
Like, he had never been in a fight. He had never been physical. This was like a daily thing for us, like, whatever. And, a little shouting, yelling, a little smacking around, one or two kicks, and it was over. And I feel bad he was scarred, man. He was like, I never want to go with you guys ever again. There was no fun. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, man. Like, you have a good time, but
It didn't sound like fun for him.
we don't get jumped in the bathroom.
Yeah. That wasn't fun.
So we felt bad. We apologized to him. We said, you know what? You dress however you want to dress, bro. We love you the way you are. Don't even bother changing for us. It's all good. And after that, we never bothered him again.
Yeah.
We were like, you know what? It's all good. Just you don't have to be like us. Be you. Be whoever you want to be. It doesn't really matter. The only time we ever fought after that was he was really into anorexic women. Like, it was really weird. Like, we went we were in the mall one time. We passed by Gap or something. Some girls working. They were like, damn, she's fine. And I look back. Everybody looks back. He looks back. He goes, she's fat. Like, excuse me? Like, PHAT? Like, pretty hot and heavy? He's like, no. She's fat. She needs to lose like 30 pounds. Like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, what do you want? A hanger? The
hanger.
He's like, I think she's fat. We're like, we think you're crazy. And then he looked at all four of us. There's like four guys, and we're all like looking at him like he's nuts. And we're like, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. Well, I could have a girl who dates you because we don't like little skinny women. So, and I think most girls understand that. Most guys really don't. Not like anorexic looking, not bony. If I can see your backbone, we got a problem. It's just I gotta feed you. You gotta eat something. You gotta eat some pasta or something, or get a little bigger, but a little thicker. But it's okay to be in shape. The girls go to our gym. It's different. They have a lot of muscle on their body, and if they're competing, it's different. Of course, I understand that, but yeah, averagely walking around, you should a little low percent body fat's okay, but not like I don't want to see veins in your stomach. I really don't. I mean, what do you think about that?
I love all women, all types of women.
So which one man to be?
You know, all types of women. Big ass, little ass, big boobs, small boobs.
Bring it
just
to
like
us.
Arnold used to
Bring
say.
it to us.
Yeah, but no, all of it. I like red hair, every type of woman. See, when you get, and Kenny, I'm surprised because you're not, when you get older, everybody, sometimes it's not that your standards lower, but your standards broaden.
I say that. I talk a lot of shit. The last girl I was with was a skinny little Chinese girl.
Skinny little Chinese girl.
So she was like, she's tiny, like pretty tiny. I was attracted to her.
Yeah.
Very sweet. It made no difference. But if I had to pick up my litter, which is never going to happen, have you seen me? It's never fucking happened. You can take what I can get. I'm just saying, if I had to pick up my litter, it's totally different. But for me, honestly, I know it sounds so stupid. Every girl who hears I'm like, sure. Personality matters a lot to me. A lot.
Yeah, for 100%.
If I meet you and you're man cool and you're very sweet, kindness is everything. If I see a girl feeding the homeless, I'm in love. I'm like, oh my God, I love her. Because it means something that the person's a good person. And
yeah,
the person's a good person, they'll be there for you, they'll back you up, and they'll be kind also.
I'm with that. I mean,
selfishness, yeah. I can't stand them. Ugh. And if a girl's too into herself, if she's staring in the mirror all day, she don't want to look at me. She should be looking at herself.
All of those things are not attractive at all. They make a person who could be very physically attractive not attractive. But and just like on the other side of the coin, like you said, somebody who's just average or not even that attractive, because of their personality, can become very attractive. And I find that with, like I said, all different types of women, like my standards, I can speak for myself, have broadened, and I'm like, I find people attractive now who I would never have gone out with when I was, say, if they're 22, when I was their age, I'm like, I never would have gone out with a girl like that, whatever that particular girl. And now I'm like, wow, that girl's hot as crap,
Just thinking.
So it's just different,
Because you're sitting next to me, the memories come flooding back in my head. Do you remember what I was like at 18, 19 years old?
Yeah, I kind of do. I mean, yeah.
Oh my God, the crap that I got myself into in the gym. Thank God I looked different as I got older. Nobody recognized me.
Yeah, you came back. Frank didn't know who you were.
Because I know there's a time in the moment, like, because I was in really good shape too. So everybody was like, people would ask me to train them. Oh, can you train me? I'm like, oh, if you want me to. I train a few people here and there. Shout out to John, not John Linden, Johnny Boy. My friend's tall. I trained him. I trained Sal. I trained a bunch of kids. Like I started training kids to help them out. One day I was doing, I guess glutes. I did a lot of glutes back then because of my kicking. I really wanted to have nice kicks all the time. Be able to do like 10, 15 kicks in a row without putting your leg down. It's a big part of Taekwondo. So like sumo squats, I do like 1,000 in a row. No big deal. And some lady asked me, "Oh, can you train me?" I'm like, "Well, actually, I'm just the glutes and everything." I'm like, "Yeah, if you want me to." And never showed up. Back then, no cell phones, really very rare. Left a message to the front desk for who to tell me to call her at home. Can you come home and train me? I'm like, I guess I need the money. I don't care. I'm 19 years old. And now I get into her house to train. Lo and behold, I was not training. Had no idea. And it's funny how like that one kind of experience led to like the word spreading in the gym, not in a good way. And then I trained somebody else, and 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 it was always older women. Always. There was never anybody like even close to our age. And I remember this lasted like 6-7 months. And it was a little bit annoying because women would look at me like up and down. I'm like, God, what does she know? Who's saying what? And we had like little Razor phones, the Motorola Razor. You guys ever seen it? Like crappy pictures of me on some of them I'd find. Like all the people, I'm like, who sent this to you? That she sent it to me. I'm like, oh, why? When did you take this? all that stopped with a really bad experience. I was in Brookville. You know that small road to Brookville that crosses through Brookville, right?
Yeah.
There's like no signals there, no lights there. There's nothing there. This lady lived there. Whatever, we're doing our thing. See, I'm being very PG right now. We're doing our thing, and I hear like a. What the hell was that? What was that noise? She's like, "Oh, I don't know." She goes, "Oh my god, my husband." I'm like, "Husband? You told me you were single." "Oh, I lied." I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now? What am I supposed to do now?" She's like, "Get out." I'm like, "Okay."
Get
I
out.
start getting out. She's like, no, the window. I'm like, the window? We got on second story, lady. I'm afraid of heights. That's the one thing I'm afraid of. She's like, well, you gotta get out. I'm like,
Oh man.
I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, I honestly didn't even want the drama. I didn't want. First of all, actually, that point I felt so guilty all of a sudden. I'm like, yo, I don't want to be the guy that ruins this guy's marriage. I
Right.
had no idea she lied to me. I don't want to be that guy either. I just get the hell out. So she had one of those like rose thingies, it's like a fence, and there was roses on it too. So I got thorns in my hands. It was so bad.
Yeah, like a trellis.
Yeah, and I'm climbing down, sweating my balls off. I'm so fucking scared. I don't want to get caught. I don't want to get hurt. I'm in my Tommy Hilfiger boxers. That's it. She said she'll throw my clothes down when I get down there. I get down. I'm like, throw my clothes. Window closes. I'm like, what the fuck? No. I'm like, and I hear like them talking. I'm like, I'm waiting. Like I'm in the bush, like coming back. I'm waiting. I'm like, she's gonna throw my shit, right? 5 minutes, 10 minutes. My clothes and my Timberlands are never coming back, are they? They're gone. At this point, I'm like, I just gave up. So it was summer, so I started walking Brookville Road to the gym, to Bev's. And it's not that far, actually. It's like, a good, like, half an hour, 40-minute walk.
Mm-hmm.
Barefoot, in my Hilfigers, walking there.
Nice.
I walk in. Thank God I was in phenomenal shape. I didn't feel bad about it. I walk in. I walk right to the payphone. I look at Lou, Lou, we need a dime. Where the fuck are you? I don't want to talk about it, Lou. Just give me a dime. And I'm going to call my boy Shane. I'm like, Shane, go home my house. Go get me clothes. Bring them to the gym. What? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Just bring them. And that experience, that was it, man. I remember the next day I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this ever again. It's bad karma. It's just bad in general what I'm doing. But I had so many stupid ventures like that where I learned the hard way what the hell I'm doing. And it's never a good thing. But the good thing was actually that, like I said, that whole time period, nobody remembers. I looked so different back then that nobody recognizes me. And you actually stopped me from making an ass out of myself one time.
I did?
Oh, years later. I'm thinking like 15, maybe 12 years later, right?
All right.
This lady doing the elliptical machine. I recognize her. I know her. Yeah, I remember her. Okay. And I remember she had a son and everything too. Okay. And I went in the locker room, like, Jamie, you know that lady on the elliptical machine? Boom! Ow! Why'd you hit me? Shut up. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, shut up. I'm looking at you like all like confused. Like, what the hell was that? 2 minutes later, this guy walks out and he's like, that's her ex-husband.
Yeah. Oh man.
She was still married when you were banging her. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
seriously? I'm like, I didn't know. You're like, well, I just saved you from making an ass out of yourself. I'm like, oh my God. I was so thankful. I'm like, thank God Jamie was here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm just so happy. Like, like I left. That was like 6 months of my life. And the damage of 6 months it lasted forever, man. And when you're young, you do the stupidest things. And I was telling you guys, the audience in the first podcast, I have so many stories like that. I've done so many crazy things that I never thought ever, like how I got out of them. I have no idea, man. I just luck in my opinion. Thank God just on my side.
Yeah, man.
That's what it goes down to. You have
Yeah.
anything crazy happening like that?
Oh, dude. I mean, I've had a million ridiculous things, but I never, I've been a personal trainer for 22 years. That never happened to me. That I never had anything like
the
that.
worst was, remember Lil Lou?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Little
Little
guy?
Lou. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Remember this guy? He's like 5'6", glasses.
If that, he was more like 5'4".
You're
Little
right.
dude.
But a powerlifter, strong as hell.
Yeah.
He looked like he was 40. He was like 20 years old. It was really weird.
Well, he did.
he,
looked like
he
that.
did. I thought he was. I thought he was like
old-
double my age. He's like, I'm your age. I'm like, oh, what? He was. He was training these two women, right? And he's like, oh my god, can I? So something about his parents. That dude, I don't know, was always at his parents' house fixing shit for them. My dad needs to mow the lawn now. I'm like, what? What? And remember, I lived in the gym. I was there like 10 hours a day. Can you train my clients? I'm like, nah, I don't care. What are they doing? He's like, oh, they're doing squats. I'm like, okay, oh, no big deal. So I go over it. Back then it was a Smith machine. Now it's the whole rack and everything. There was no rack there back then. And they started doing that. And he said, can you spot me? I'm like, sure. I spot one. I spot two. Look at me all funny. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, I live here. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I live right here across the street. I'm like, that's cool. And she looks at me. She goes, want to go help me at home? I got it right away. I'm like, okay, let's go. We leave. We leave her friend there.
Leave a friend there.
And the next day, I see Lou, because Lou's there every day. I walk in and say to Michelle, what's going on? Where's Lou? Because me, Michelle, and Lou train together. And Michelle, hi. I miss you. Come back to the gym when you don't
Come
want
back,
to.
Michelle. We love you.
I know Sal said you're never coming back. So I get it. And I'm training with me and Michelle are warming up. And Lou comes, he goes, yo, what happened to my client? I'm like, nothing. She got quite the workout. And he's like, I heard you left the other one here. I'm like, well, I can only train one at a time, man. I mean, I'm gifted, but one needed my total attention. And he was like, I never leave my clients and you again. I'm like, that was up to you. Like, you left him. You chose that when you left him here for your mommy and daddy. But another stupid thing that happened when I feel bad for he left that gym in a bad way too, man. It sucks.
Yeah, that was really messed up the way he left. It's really.
And I don't want to share with the audience because the funny part is that the reason he left and the shit that happened was because of a person. But that people change. That person became such a good human being later.
Yeah, he was a real asshole.
He was a horrible, cokehead, crazy mother effer that didn't care about anybody. And
He had a real thing, like a real problem with Lou.
yeah. And he just had... And now I know him so well, man. We all have issues, and he had a lot of issues from upbringing and stuff, and which he dealt with later in life. And they're a really nice guy. I actually really like him. I really miss him. He moved away, but I spent a lot of time hanging out with him, talking to him, and I don't think he remembers that me and him had a fight. I don't think he remembers any of it. I don't think he recognizes me. Like nobody recognizes me. But when he was fighting with Lou, I stepped in.
Right.
I got really angry. Because you're picking on like a 5'4" dude who's not going to say anything to anybody.
He's a shy guy. He's a timid guy.
He gets very intimidated. I'm a thug.
Right.
So, like, I stepped right in the middle. I was like, who the fuck are you talking to? The guy was tall, too. He was taller than me.
He's a big dude. He's like 6'3", and
I was like, watch who you fucking talking to. That's
Yeah.
my boy. He's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I will kick you in the fucking head so hard you'll never get up again. He's like, you think so? And then it escalated a little bit, but, nobody wanted to mess around in that gym, and they still don't. But back then, it was even more like, you were causing ruckus in that gym, you're gone.
yeah.
You're getting your ass thrown on the street. So, and we all love where we work out. It's the best gym in the goddamn world, and nobody wants to risk that. So, everybody got kind of quiet, and we all kind of walked away, and that was it. And then Lou never came back.
But when this guy came back, he years later, I don't know how long he was gone. Years. He was like
10 years.
Like I said, he was a different guy, and he said he's like, yeah, I used to be an asshole back then, and he was such a good guy. I'm like, yeah, we all hated you. He's like, yeah, I don't blame you. I was a complete idiot, asshole, and all that. But he was a lot better. He's cool now, or whatever, since he moved.
It's amazing though how much people change. Because I remember how much I wanted to kill him, just from being. We're talking about this. If you guys met my friend Lou, he's like the nicest little human being in the world. Like your little buddy. And your little buddy's getting picked on by a giant. Like, no, that's not going to happen. Not on my watch.
Yeah.
And then the giant comes back, and the giant's so sorry for everything he's done his entire life. And he's like, I'm sorry, I was a horrible person. I'm going to make up for it now. And he's the nicest person in the world. You're like, wow, like people really, life can change you so much. I mean, I don't know about you, but, you've always been, I don't remember you ever being much different than you are now, actually.
Well, I'm a lot different inside, and I'm a lot different.
But your behavior.
No, I'm always, one thing that I was blessed with is I was always very kind. Like, God made me kind, and very, very sensitive. So I was never really a pick on the other. I got picked on a lot as a kid. I mean, bullied a lot, picked on a lot. The only Jewish kid in my, not the only Jewish kid, but a Jewish kid in a very non-Jewish neighborhood. And I got picked on more. We all get bullied and picked on someone. I was pretty little. And some of us take it worse than others. I took it really, really badly. I could actually, you want to hear a story about how I got my revenge one time?
Yes, definitely.
All right. So living well is the best revenge, right? So there was a kid, I'm going to say his name. It was Lloyd Margulies, right?
You hearing, Lloyd?
Lloyd Margulies. And he was my Hebrew school bully. I was actually getting bullied at Hebrew school for like 3 years, man. Like, third, fourth, fifth grade. I mean, he was just relentless, and I was kind of a timid guy. Not that I wasn't afraid to fight, but it just never got to that. It was just relentless, just picking on. One time, I actually did choke him, and then left. And then I got up and I started choking him, and then I left. Then I left the room. I'm crying. I'm walking. I'm trying to walk home from my temple. It's crazy. Anyway, so then he ended up going to high school with us, and he turned into a pretty. Like a pud, like a real total pud, right?
Really?
Yeah. I don't think he was ever a tough guy. He was just whatever he was. He had a lot of money. He was rich.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, in high school, he was in a couple of my classes. I don't know if we didn't really speak at all. Anyway, so flash forward to when I was about 28 years old. I'm at the gym and I'm already pretty jacked, right?
I remember that.
Yeah, and he comes in, and my friend Craig is my best friend since we were 3 years old. He's like, oh man, you know that guy? This guy, Lloyd Margulies, walks into the gym, and he's like, my friend Craig is like, oh my God, that's Lloyd. He's like, do you remember him from high school? I'm like, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, I do.
He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, and I told him quickly what the story was. He's like, oh my God. He's like, that's crazy. I'm like, he's like, let's go work out with him. And I'm like, yeah, good idea. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter what, Craig's like, hey man, how you doing? What's going on? I said, hey, what's up, Lloyd? He's like, oh, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. One of the very friendly, hey Lloyd, what are you training today? And he's like, it didn't matter what he was training. We were going to train. We're doing the same thing. So we were training back. And I'm like, this is the best. Because my back is my best body part.
So strong.
And oh my God, I just destroyed this guy. Because he's trying to keep up. He's thinking he's a tough guy. And there was no way, and he's just.
I can really, I remember even at age 19, the amount of goddamn supersets you wanted to do. This guy's, we used to do shoulders. I couldn't move them for 2 days.
Yeah, so I gave him the full treatment, the full Jamie J. He left before the workout was over, pretty much crying. Pretty much crying. Never came back. Never saw him again. I'm like,
that was it for Bevs. He's done.
That's the best revenge right there.
That's funny.
Isn't that awesome?
But you never had a temper or anything, right? Even growing up.
I was very. It's funny because I was talking about this today with my friend. I was very hard on myself, and I think a lot of people are very hard on themselves. A lot of people have no patience for themselves. I had a lot of self-hatred when I was a kid. A lot for my whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, since I had a lot of self-hatred and anger and frustration, I was definitely that angry young man for as long. I had my fuse was this long. I had the tiny little fuse. I mean, I could get set off. It didn't matter. I mean, you should see my house.
You wrong, man. That was it. What you looking at? Was bad.
I mean, bad. I wasn't that bad, but I was bad in that. I mean, you should see my house. I mean, I still have my garage is still. I baseball bat to my garage. 15 years ago. It's still. The siding is still messed up because I didn't redo the siding. I'm just throwing my motorcycle helmets across the freaking lawn in the middle of the night. No wonder my neighbors don't talk to me. They don't talk to me because they're like, that's the freaking crazy dude. I mean, out in the middle of the freaking street, in the middle of the night, just screaming.
Hey,
anyway,
it's crazy. Our neighbors don't say what's wrong.
But I was never like that with other people. Again, like God made me kind, and He made me very patient with other people.
I was like that unless I felt for a second you were either trying to intimidate me or somebody else. And then a switch just would flip. I was very nice to everybody. Just like you were, like, I help anybody out, do anything, take care of you, pay for you, don't worry about it, it's all good. The second I see you trying to intimidate someone else.
Yeah. That's a big one with me too.
Something just snaps in me. I'm like, oh, you think you're tough? Yeah? How tough are you? You think you're real tough, huh? Come on, let's go outside. I I don't know what it is, but I do not like anybody trying to turn anybody else. It bugs the shit out of me.
Me too. I'm the same way. It's really disturbing.
It's just
Really disturbing.
pretty awesome too. I actually want to have Craig on here too.
Yeah, he'd be great.
He's if you guys don't know, if you watch my Instagram, he posts every day. The guy the journey every day. I think actually reposts his stuff every day. Also, he says superheroes and CEOs. That's how he starts it. Really, I mean, if you guys got a great story, I don't want to mess this story up for him, but he's like come a long way. It's amazing. And
Yeah.
it's he's kept it up too, which is even more amazing to me because unlike me who lost weight and couldn't keep it up, he's kept it up. He looks great.
Yeah, he's doing great. His mentality's completely turned around, which is, you said, I mean, before the guy we were talking about before, the Lou bully dude, the dude who was bullying Lou, so people change. People don't usually change, right? He changed a lot, that guy. Craig has totally changed a lot. He's like a different person who he was. He's he was always kind of a heavy guy. He struggles with that his whole life. I've known him since we were 3, so he struggles, and he got to a point where he was like, I'm gonna die if I don't freaking do something about it. And he really, really did something about it.
And he was, even before that, guys, just trying here and there. He would try not to go as far as he wanted to go. Try this time. Nah, he went all the way. He did the show actually. He actually got on stage. It was amazing. I was really proud of him.
Yeah, a year ago. Well, more than it's going to be a year in. I think it was November. I want to say 19th. So he did the Long Island show, which is amazing. So, but as far as my transformation is changing, like I was always a nice guy. I always liked to be a nice guy. I was prided myself on being a nice, approachable guy, no matter what I look like. Since we talked about it last time, since I had my heart transplant, those of you who don't know, I had a heart transplant.
Call your episode 2.
About 2.5 years ago, but I consider it 2 years because I only got out of the hospital. I was in the hospital for a very long time, 5 months. So I got out of the hospital September 1st of 2021. So anyway, but that changed everything. Like I said before, it made me not a completely different person, but it put so many things. I became, like I said last time, so grateful, so amazingly grateful, so happy, just the happiest guy in the room. But it also gave me, I didn't have that self-hatred anymore.
Yeah.
It released me from that because, and I hate to say it, man. Well, I don't hate to say it because I used to say to myself, how am I ever going to change? How am I ever not going to do what I do? How am I not going to be on this treadmill, and literally treadmill and figuratively treadmill as well? How am I going to not be doing cardio at 100 miles an hour for 2 hours a day? How am I going to keep that up for my whole life? And how am I going to not do it? How am I going to be able to look in the mirror and not do it? How am I going to be able to go to the gym and not do it? The heart transplant put everything in perspective. And, I train a lot. I put my size back. I'm very satisfied with the way I look. But it's a good part of my life, but it's not everything. It used to be everything in my life. And we talked about this a little bit last time.
I think one thing that changes the most, and something happened to me, you said you're satisfied.
Yeah, well, satisfied.
That's what happened to me. Like, it's really funny. Shout out to Pat. I love you, buddy. But Pat's always telling me about it. I think when COVID happened, I lost like 45 pounds because I went on keto and just said, I can't get bigger. I can't be strong. I'll lose weight. Jeremy says, oh, you look good like that. I'm like, yeah, but Pat, you don't understand. I'm happy. And that's never happened before in my life where I'm looking a certain way. I'm like, you know what? Hey, it's all good. If I lose some weight, great. If I don't really care. I'm not looking to look different right now. And that's where things have really changed for me. Like you were saying, I'm pretty satisfied. I mean, sure. I mean, I'll be honest with the audience. When I saw my first video with Eric, if you guys watched the episode with Royal Automated where I got my tires done and rims done, I got the episode. I was appalled. I'm like, holy shit, I'm fat as hell. What the hell, man? I need to go on a diet. But it's also the way you see yourself. I said that, and I was talking to this guy, Fabian in the gym. Shout out to Fabian. And put the video, and he goes, oh my God, your arms look fantastic. Look how big they are. I'm like, huh? Like, I didn't see that. I just saw my big ass love handles and my belly sticking out. He didn't even notice. All he saw was my arms. Like, well, you look great. I'm like, so it's what you see, because he was not looking at what I was looking at all. So I'm like, oh. And right away I was like, so it's my perception. I'm sure there's people out there right now watching me who are like, "No, you're fat, dude. You need to lose weight." Maybe you think so. That's true, but it's more what I think that matters than anybody else. And for the first time, I'm not dieting all the time. Like Jimmy said, I was always like, "When is it going to happen?" I'm not going to be like, "Okay, I need this. Okay, I need that." What's in that? How many carbs are in that? Oh, I had 100 grams today. This is the first time since I'm a kidney thing. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm like, oh, I want pizza. Okay, I'll eat pizza. 7-Eleven thinks I live there. They're like, oh, hey, you're back. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Those are my buddies. Shout out to AJ. So I was like, I go there every freaking day, and get a slice of pizza. It's cheap, and it's
Oh
fine.
no, you're eating 7-Eleven pizza, bro?
That's
I
what it tastes.
can't.
I like the way it. I know it's
I
really
like
sick.
the way it tastes. Oh
I
my
used
God.
to call it cardboard and cheese. I don't know what the hell happened. I think the Indian in me came out. I think Indians have this thing they call Singer's pizza. Have you ever had it? It's in Hicksville. I used to despise this shit. I'm like, who the fuck is cardboard and sauce? And you walk in like, hello, how are you doing? What do you want? Would you like cheese on that? I'm like, you don't put cheese in it. No, we put cheese. You don't put sauce in it. It's like a hard piece of cardboard that they call pizza. And my ex used to love it. And most Indians love it. And he's like, this is not pizza. I think the gene is somewhere in here. And every time I go there, I'm like, I think I want the slice of pizza. Yeah,
Oh no.
I want the card. Is it been in the oven very long? Oh, it has been in the light for 3 hours. That is the one I want, the crunchy one, yes. And then I eat it and I'm like, why the hell am I eating this? But the sad part is, I told my daughter, I'm like, oh my God, I actually like it. And she's like, Dad. I'm like, I know, blasphemy. It's not really pizza. It's just like cardboard and cheese, but I don't mind it, especially as a pre-workout if I don't go to the gym. I need something carby. I'm like, oh, I get a size for $1, whatever. Let's do it.
Cardboardy, you mean?
Cardboard,
Dude, there's so much wrong with what you're talking about right now. There's so many things that are just ridiculously horrible about what you're saying. First of all,
And it's so sad because I love Italian food, and that's not even
all right.
not even food.
Okay, first of all, if I were Italian, I might have to just hit you with something right now, because and I'm not
I got this
Italian.
recorded.
So first of all, you're from New York,
I know.
so that qualifies you as a pizza expert. Just
I know.
where there, and we all have our favorite spots. I like Victor's in Melville. It's awesome. It's on 110. Victor's. You guys are great.
Till this day, Avellino's and Rego Park.
All right, there you go.
My
So
God.
whatever, we have our.
Hey,
So
my ex-brother-in-law used to drive from Jersey to there just to get their slices.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Well, you're in Jersey, but they probably have good,
No,
whatever.
Jersey pizza sucks.
Well, it can't be as bad as 3 o'clock in the morning freaking 7-Eleven pizza, because I've been there at 3 o'clock in the morning and it is dried, horrible. I mean, cardboard is a compliment to what that stuff really is, and you're eating that. Oh my God! Well, I think you've gone a little bit too wrong the other way,
It takes
bro.
me a long time to chew it.
It takes you a long time to chew it. It's like beef jerky freaking pizza. That's ridiculous, man.
Like, I need some water. You have water? I need water.
I'm a DJ, right? So I've done a lot of. I'm not a DJ. I'm an MC. So I'm a party dude. So I do a lot of parties, and I'm at Wawa or CVS
Yeah.
or freaking not
like
CVS, but
Wawa.
also Wawa's awesome.
Yeah.
Wawa's like the best place or 7-Eleven, someplace late at night, or that place on the Hutch. There's a mobile on the Hutch.
Okay.
You're coming down from Westchester, and I've seen this. They're trying under that light that they're trying to pass off as edible food, and I'm like, and of course I'm like, who's going to eat that stuff? And here he is, your boy KPC eating it. It's that's just a disaster.
Pretty sad.
Bro.
I actually like. It's so sad. I like the tuna fish sandwiches too. I don't know how bad that is for you too, but it's really funny because one day I decided to read the ingredients. Wow, the amount of preservatives in that shit.
Because there's no tuna in it. They're preserving whatever, I don't know what it is. Sardines, they can call it some type of fish, a cheese food, fish food.
I hope it's at least fish.
I don't think it's fish, man. I don't know. I cannot speak on it because I have never even looked at a tuna sandwich at 7-Eleven. But yeah, man.
It's sad. I actually go there for that.
Wow, man. I'm very sorry to hear that. Nice knowing you.
got so used to it too. It's so sad. Like the other day, I was like, why did I go to 7-Eleven? Like, there's so many other places you could fucking eat. Like, there's a pizzeria right next to it.
Yeah.
And I walk into 7-Eleven and get the pizza instead. And everybody's like, what? The poor pizzeria was like, really? But actually, no. At our house, I definitely order pizza here all the time for my family from Shortstop. Like, and weirdest thing, the economy must suck. You know, that pizzeria around here, they're always busy. And I feel they were shut down for like 2 weeks, man. They had no employees.
Oh yeah.
That's scary shit, man. That's how bad our economy is because we have the greatest president that ever lived.
I went to I was at CVS the other night again, it was late. I was coming home from a party. It was like say 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And that's the good time to get my prescriptions because it's 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no line.
No,
And there was a sign. The door's locked. I'm like, what's going on? There's a sign, a handwritten sign that said,
nobody.
sorry, we don't have enough employees, so we're
Yeah.
short staffed or whatever, and have to close it. That's pretty terrible, man.
It is sad, man. I don't know. The whole world is kind of like that right now. It's we live in this weird world where propaganda rules. A perfect example of that right now, if you guys listening to this currently, Russell Brand is getting fucked over completely. Russell Brand decided about a year ago that he was going to tell the truth about what's going on. Telling the truth in this world is really, you're just putting a target on your back. And he talked about the pharmaceuticals, how much money they made, Pfizer, how Pfizer never even approved they never approved the shot.
Vaccine.
Nah, never. They admitted, like, oh, we never did trials. We have no idea. They actually admitted that in Congress. So Russell Brand just talking about who made the money, where the money came from, how the rich got richer, and a few things like that. But in general, just about how dark our system is in general. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, wow, he's a dead man. It was like a year ago, nothing ever happened. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, rape allegations from 25 years ago. And the government of UK is trying to shut them down. The government of UK actually reached out to YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, and specifically asked, the government is asking this, demonetize him because you wouldn't want to be on the wrong side, right? That's a threat. That's ridiculous. The same thing happened to Andrew Tate. The same reason, just because he's saying things like the way they are, and he was talking about how nobody was on his side now, and now the quote-unquote Matrix is after Russell Brand. They won't stop until they're done. We're lucky, actually, we live in a time of where media that we have now, where like my voice is being heard, and I guess Rumble spoke out, but they got the letter from the UK government, and they shared it with the whole world. The government is threatening us over a human being. And
over free speech.
Yeah, just saying what
you know what he says. Well, only because he's being canceled because of accusations that aren't even founded accusations. And I mean, you can accuse anybody of anything. It's terrible.
Even worse to me than that is Howard Stern going on and on about Lauren Boebert and how she's disgusting. One of these congressmen was in a play or something in Beetlejuice, and she was drunk and she was all over her boyfriend and stuff. And what are you doing? You're vile. What are you talking about? You have women riding symbionts in your freaking goddamn in your show, like right there in front of you. They're all naked. You're always talking shit to them, and you're gonna judge somebody else. You should really shut the hell up. But I don't know. There's all this stuff was happening. If you guys listen to this podcast right now, when this was happening right now in the news right now, I won't even talk about the election because there's no point. Because as far as I can tell, I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't think Joe Biden will make it to election. I'm just wondering what they're going to try and do. I think they're going to try to replace Gavin Newsom with him. If you vote for Gavin Newsom, you must be retarded because the worst state in this country is California. It's turned to a goddamn shithole, literally. And he calls that. So he'll do the same thing for America if that's what you want. But I don't know what to say anymore to people because it looks like they want destruction. They voted for Biden. I mean, you know what you're getting when you vote for somebody. If somebody says they're going to do something, then you vote for them. And he said he was going to do all this, and you guys voted for him. So I don't know why you don't like this country that much. If you don't like it, then don't be here, please. Do us all a favor. You can go somewhere else. You can go to Venezuela. It's what you want. You want socialism. That's what Venezuela is. Go there. Hang out there. Don't worry. They'll welcome you. You can have them. I would actually rather take all the illegal immigrants that came from Cuba and places where they had communism, and I'll keep them. Because they're very happy to be here, and they're thankful to being here, because they know what they have when they come here. And those of you who go to liberal schools, like, I don't know, Stanford and all the places, Harvard and all that, you don't like the country, you haven't discussions about how much America sucks and saying that in classes, don't be here. That's all good. We'll be fine. Don't worry. We've been okay so far. We'll be okay without you little crybabies doing crying. He would need to be happy about it. He said he mispronounced my gender. Because you have short hair, lady. What do you want to do? Grow it out. What do you want from me? I'm not really a woman. I can't tell if you're a woman or a man. It's not my fault if I'm trying to figure it out. And then people apologize. Apology is not good enough for you. These people, if you apologize, Jane, by the way, they just want more. You apologize? Good. Now you're guilty. That's why I think Mario Lopez never apologized to the world when he said something about changing the sex of young children. He was right. He was like, they're kids. What would they know? And then basically Mario Lopez got almost canceled completely. And he cowered down and said sorry to everybody. I wish he had not said sorry because he was right. There's nothing wrong with that. You can't control kids. Look at that poor guy in Texas. His son was taken from him. His wife was turning the boy into a girl. And every day he would say, Daddy, but I'm not a girl. Please help me. He's like, I'm trying. And when they went to court, they worded to the mother and said she can do whatever the hell she wants. You can't have the kid. And you can't do anything. The poor guy is going. I heard him on the radio the other day. He's on a podcast on Tim Pool, trying to help other families out because he can't help his own family. He can't do anything. He has to watch his son be tortured and can't do anything about it because liberal states will take her side. And that's the country we live in. Where I mean, if you guys think we're not a civil war now, you're crazy. You're just not paying attention. States hate other states. We want nothing to do with each other. We all have different values, different rights. Long Island and New York City are at war. We don't see anything the same at all. Where me and Jamie live, this is not a liberal place. We don't want socialism. We're not looking for that. We're looking for hardworking people who work hard and get what they paid, get what they really deserve because they worked really hard for it. That is just what you call conservative, whatever you want, but that's the American way. And that's what this country was built on, hard work. I really don't believe in getting things for free at all. I think it's a horrible thing. It causes more laziness, a lack of effort, lack of worth. When you get something for free, you don't value it. I think that's wrong with this generation. They got everything. They got iPads. They have the internet. They have YouTube. And I tell you, I never valued YouTube, TikTok, all these things until now, until I have a podcast. YouTube is amazing. You kids are blessed. I learned how to do half this shit from YouTube. YouTube, just watching videos. Oh, I got an error. What does error message mean? What does error message mean? How to get rid of it? Oh, okay. When we were growing up, we had jack shit. We didn't know anything. We had to keep asking each other, yo, man, you know how to do this? No? Anybody who knows how to do this? Like, that's the only way you could even learn. You could learn how to drive stick from a YouTube video if you really had to. Because theoretically, it'll show you how to do it. You just have to learn how to do it on your own.
Yeah.
But we had nobody or nothing when we were growing up. And you kids, the gym kids, are so blessed, man. To be able to watch, Olympia people work out on video every single day. Their lives, what they eat, their routines. But, I had a question about that, going into working out real quick. Because you're a trainer. This is a question everybody's going to be asking. I know, and I want to ask every trainer, and I'm so curious what you think. There are so many methods of working out. I have heard the Dorian Yates method, which is like Mike Mentzner's method, which is like really intense, and then days off, like 1 hour intensity, and you get a lot of growth from that. I've heard high volume, do lots and lots of volume, get the pump cup, and do whatever you can. I've heard you can't get big without heavy weight, which I think is bullshit, but I've heard that from people. Like, if you don't lift heavy, you're not getting any bigger. What do you find true? What do you find false? I mean, I do negatives also too. They work really well, but I think it's good to have a conjunction of everything. But anything that you find as somebody who's doing this for so long, and you're much better shape than me, so that works the best for people, not just beginners, but in general, to keep it up and like keep muscle mass up, and body fat's obviously dieting, guys. So don't think there's anything to do with working out. But what do you think, like workout wise?
I think, thank you for the question. That's a great question. I think they're all valid. I think there's so many different ways to get muscle to achieve the goals you want. And everybody's goals are different. Everybody's bodies are different. Everybody's capabilities are different. Everybody's genetics are different.
So true.
So you have to find out what's best, what works best for you, and that might take a lot of trial and error. It's going to take a lot of trial and error, right? You just have to have the patience and the leave the ego a little bit
That's the hardest part.
bit to the side to try different things. And for the longest time, I would never switch my workout. Never, ever. My workout was my workout. And
If
that's
it
what it had
works,
to be.
you do it till you die.
Yeah, that's it. And okay, so that's great. It worked for me, and I'm not going to say it stopped working. I don't, everybody, the people who change their workouts every 6 weeks, great for them. That's a whole thing. I don't particularly think that that's necessary. I think you can continue to grow and make gains, growth gains, density gains, thickness gains, all kinds of different gains.
Real quick,
quality.
Now I've heard that it's really funny. This whole thing changing it up so your body doesn't get used to it and growing. Now I've heard that's bad. Now the new thing I read is that if you do that, you can never measure any gains really. If you're doing a certain exercise every single week over and over again, right? When you get progressively stronger in it, you'll know because your body's getting used to it. You're getting stronger. The weight's going up. The reps are going up. You start getting stronger with the movement, and you change the movement all of a sudden, you're back to zero. There's no record of progress there because you can't see it. Like for instance, I can't do much. I can only do a certain kilo machine do for chest. I started with 15 pounds when I came out of the hospital. 15 kilos, actually. Not even that's, I don't know why that's in kilos over there. And now I'm doing 50 kilos. But because I kept with the same machine, I was able to follow my progress for how I got stronger. If I changed the workout up, that wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me wonder about all these things I've heard my whole life, but you got to change it up, you got to change it up. Was that wrong? Or
It's not wrong. I mean, there are so many, again, different ways to do it. But if you want to measure your progress on a bench press, you have to bench press.
Yeah.
How many of us have, and I've done it, and I'm sure a lot of people of you guys out there have done it. You don't bench press for a month. You just go to dumbbells, and then you go back to the bench press, and you're like, oh my God, what happened? Absolutely. I was benching 300 pounds, now I'm benching 240. Or whatever it happens to be. So if you want to get better at one exercise, if you're a power lifter or you're a weight lifter, or your goals are all just I want to lift more weight, then there are certain ways to train for that. But I say this to all the time to people. These weights are your tools. They are not. I don't go to the gym to lift weights. I go to the gym to work my body, stress my muscle. To develop my muscles. The weight just
helps that, guys.
Well, the weight is your tool. Like, so if you ask a carpenter, what are you going to go do when you go to work today? He's not going to say, I'm going to swing a hammer. He's like, I'm going to build something. I'm going to build this creation. So your creation is your body. The weights are your tools. So there's so many different ways to do it. As far as Mike Mensner, Dorian Yates, Arthur Jones is really the one who really developed that.
Right. You're right.
So Arthur Jones, Casey Viator, Boyer Coe, Arthur Jones is the guy who developed the one set to failure minimal workout type of thing. Right. He did it. He also was the guy who developed Nautilus. I don't know if you guys know about Nautilus machines. They're a lot different now than they were at the time. When he developed Nautilus machines, they were all chains. Like it was like a bicycle chain, bicycle chain on a leg extension, bicycle chain, now they have straps and all kinds of different things. And they're a little more conforming to all the other types of equipment, but they were very unique machines. So he developed those machines and a method to working out. And he had two bodybuilders, one named Boyer Coe and one named Casey Viator, who were really top level bodybuilders. These are guys who were, top 10 bodybuilders, right? Okay. And he said, give up your training. Don't give it up. Switch over to this type of training. This type of one set to failure. Suppose it's not really one set to failure though. It's like 3 warm-ups, progressively heavy warm-up sets, not to failure, and then one set to failure. So if you're like, if you've ever seen the Dorian Yates Blood and Guts video, right? He does 4 sets of incline benching, 3 sets, and then his one work set that he counts. But he does whatever, 225 for 6, 315 for 6, 4 whatever for 365 for 6. I don't know the weights. None of them are to failure, and then he does one all-out set to failure with the drop set and all that kind of thing. So he hasn't really. It's not really one set to failure. It's really one set. It's one set to failure, but it's 3 progressively workout sets before that.
Ironically, that's kind of what I do now, and it just
Yeah.
happen on its own that it works really well for me.
Well, then that works for you. That's great.
Yeah.
But then you look at Arnold,
Yeah.
and if you believe what
Oh
Arnold
my
said, he was
God.
doing 45 sets of chest a week.
Volume.
Volume. So did he do that? I mean, and the drugs weren't. The drugs are a lot better now.
Oh my
Not
God.
better, but a lot more.
They're a lot more efficient. They're much stronger, actually.
Well, they're also a lot more prevalent
Yeah.
than they were then. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't on Dianabol and whatever else he was on, but he wasn't
they
on
took him-
a cocktail of 6 things.
As far as I remember, also that they, as far as I heard, they took him more towards prep.
That's what he says.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, I believe it. Look at Kevin Lerone, man. He can do jack shit for like 7 months, and he was fucking huge.
Right.
So
Well,
it's possible because I mean, he was a freak. I mean, that man should never have left bodybuilding.
none of us can compare ourselves to a professional
No, of course
bodybuilder genetically. We just don't. I mean, if you have it, if you're one of those guys out there and you're genetically blessed, God, that's amazing. God bless you.
It's
But there
funny. For example, last night I had Johnny on, right?
Mhm.
Benjamin was here. If you guys haven't seen the podcast, it'll be out tomorrow.
yeah.
I mean, I was talking to Pat about this, my buddy again, and you know, John trains Pat, and we were talking about how I've never really seen John struggle with a weight ever. Like he can roll like 500 pounds like it's a fucking joke. I'm not even exaggerating, unfortunately, but I've never seen him even really make much of a face. Forget about like, "Arr!" No. It's always like 1, 2, 3. He like sit there, think about the lat, hold the lat. But the amount of weight he's doing is fucking ridiculous. And he's not really trying to do heavy weight. It's just the way that works for him. I
He's
always tell
working
him,
the
like,
muscle. He's
yeah,
working the muscle
I
for
always
whatever
tell
works
him, like,
best for
John,
him.
like, well, how much weight do you? He goes, whatever I need. Like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I'm not worried about the weight. I'm just doing whatever is like 90% hard for me. I get to a certain threshold of hardness, and then I stop. And then I think about it in my mind, you know, just all mind muscle connection at that point.
Mhm.
He's not. I've never seen him go crazy. But he's got that crazy nasty strength.
Mhm.
You know, and you watch him work out, you're like, what the fuck? I can't do that. But I get the same results with 1/4 the way he does. 'Cause it's hard for me.
Right.
And
Well, it's strength is a relative
Yeah,
thing, and strength and muscle development are not, they're not mutually exclusive.
no, I hope you guys out there listening to this, if you're working out, you're trying really hard in the gym, keep doing what you're doing. Don't compare yourself to people around you. You're all, like Jimmy said, we're so individually different. What works for you is not going to work for the next person. And if you have a good trainer, like we were telling you yesterday on John's podcast, they will figure that out. What works for you? It will not be the same thing that if you got 2 clients, right? You know somebody else who works out with your trainer, and you and him are doing the same thing. Something's fucking wrong. There's a problem. For the most part, something should be different somewhat. You're not twins. You're not the same genetic people. I mean, unless you're Arnold and Danny DeVito, that's not going to happen. So I wouldn't really worry about it. You should have your own individual track. I know I was just talking to Jamie yesterday. Jamie, you are Jamie. I was talking to John about how many bad trainers are out there. You know, they just they'll take your money and run the other way. I'm like, oh, they give you cookie cutter fucking workout.
Well, cookie cutter workouts, and then also they don't have the knowledge.
Yep.
You know, that's another thing. Just getting back to the Arthur Jones things real quick. So for Casey Viator, he loved the workout. You know, it grew and saw results. Boyer Coast said, oh my God, I lost freaking 15, 20 pounds on the same workout. So it doesn't work for not every workout works for everybody. But I will say one thing that I think is an absolute, because Arnold's workout, Dorian's workout, any workout in between are, again, like we've been saying, individually, but barbells and dumbbells, man.
Yeah.
Barbells and dumbbells.
Yeah.
You want to get big, you want to get thick, you want to put on muscle.
It's true, guys.
Don't go for your first exercise to the hammer strength.
No.
You know, you're watching guys. First of all, another thing I was going to say, and this goes along with what I just said. First of all, I am very grateful that I grew up in the era that I did, when there was a lot less information than there is now. Because you could have a guy with a good body. He was born that way, and he doesn't know anything about working out, and he's showing you his exercises and what he does and how he works out, and there's no knowledge based in it, right?
Yeah.
He has no reference. It's like a doctor who never went to medical school trying to tell you how to,
Yep.
trying
It's
to,
true.
So Um, so what I was going to say was when I was a younger person in the 80s and 90s, all you had was a magazine.
Yeah.
And but who was in the magazine was all the guys on the Mr. Olympia stage,
Yeah.
right? And back then, again, it was barbells, dumbbells, barbells, dumbbells, barbells, dumbbells. I still train myself with, I have 2 shoulder replacements, I have a spinal fusion, and I have a heart transplant. I still train myself with 85 to 90% barbells and dumbbells.
Yeah.
And I don't care if I'm training a 17-year-old kid who wants to get jacked or an 80-year-old lady who just needs to move. She's doing dumbbells, maybe not barbells, but she's doing free weights. Free weights will get you
Right.
where you want to be. And you also need the correct form. You need the correct, like Kenny was saying, the mind-muscle connection. And you also
Yes.
need the right rep range for what you want to do and also for your strength. So when I was in this, I was probably working out for at least 15 years, probably 17 years, let's just say, doing pretty much, not the same routine, but the same exercises and evolving it as it went over 16. Right. So say I was on the same program, which I don't like to say, for 2 years right now. I was doing the same workouts for 2 years. And a friend of mine said he had a book. It's called Big Beyond Belief, if you've ever heard of that one.
Okay.
It's a workout program called Big Beyond Belief. It was diametrically different, 180 degrees different than what I do. I'm a volume trainer.
Right. I know.
Volume. I find that works for me.
Yep.
This was very little volume, a lot of rest, and timing yourself between sets.
I remember this. Yeah, wasn't it some Middle East, some European workout, right? Wasn't
Yeah, it was a European workout. It's called Big Beyond Belief. If you guys want to look it up, the workouts are different. Really,
Yeah.
It's a 4-day program. Day 1 is like chest, back, biceps, and the first day workout takes you 40 minutes.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I remember trying to do this when I was like in my early 20s. I felt like it wasn't enough. I wasn't happy.
Right.
I remember doing it for a week, but I can't do this.
Well, to my own credit, I stuck with it. It's almost 4 months. It's 3 months and 3 weeks program.
Wow.
And I did deviate from it a bit. Like I did add a little bit of volume, but I pretty much stuck with the core of the workout. And okay, so I didn't get Big Beyond Belief, but probably the 2 valuable lessons that I learned, the 2 most valuable. One, it was, again, completely different than everything I've ever done. I didn't get any worse.
Okay.
I didn't lose my muscle. I didn't, I'm like, oh my God, if I don't do this, I'm going to lose muscle. If I don't do that, I'm going to lose
Right.
muscle.
Right.
So I pretty much stayed the same looks wise. But I learned my strength curve, where my most strength was. For instance, I was always the kind of guy who would, like, let's just say I could lift 100 pounds.
Right.
I could do 100 pounds for 12 reps, but I could
Right.
only do 105 for 4 reps.
I remember this actually.
Right?
Yeah,
So
right.
some guys they can only do 300 for 5 reps, but they could do 400 for 5 reps, but they can't do 300 for 10 reps.
Right.
My strength curve, I figured it out. I started with bent rows, probably my best exercise. When I started, I was doing bent rows with 185 pounds for 15 reps. By the end of the 4 months, I was doing 205 for 15 reps, right? 12 reps.
Okay.
So I learned that my best strength curve, but then I would go up and I would lose reps quickly.
Right.
By you just adding 5s or 10s, I would lose the reps. So I learned that my best strength curve was between 10 to 12 to 14 reps, and that worked for me, and that's what I do now.
And that's trial. That's trial and error, guys.
Trial and error.
If
I
you're
was
in the
working out
gym-
for 17 years when I figured it out.
That's what I want you all to hear. What we're saying actually is that you have to keep trying different things to see what happens, and do not let your trainer tell you this is it, this is the all in. And you don't know that until you've been doing this as long as we have. It took me a long time to figure it out too. I swear by dumbbells, I just can't do them because my injuries are too bad. So I do chest. I cannot. I have to do cable work, unfortunately, because the impingement and all the tears and missing pieces. I can't. But shoulders, or the laterals, only dumbbells. Buys, only dumbbells. Tries, only dumbbells. Whatever I can do, dumbbell work. It gives your forearm strength. It gives you strength in your grip. So it's a lot better than just doing cable work. And machines are really for injuries, guys. If you're really injured, you don't feel good, that's the best thing to do is to go do a machine that keeps you in motion. But keep one thing in mind: when you're sitting on a machine, your motion is set. You're gonna go up and down whatever you're doing in a certain motion, and you cannot change that. You cannot finagle your arm around. When you have a dumbbell, you have a lot of freedom, and you can maneuver it around a little bit to where it's comfortable for you. So I think with the cable, you can move where it's comfortable for you, and that's the important part. If you're working out, do not hurt yourself, guys. Take it from us, people who have hurt themselves enough. And we have those kind of mentalities where if we got hurt, instead of stopping, it just make us angry. And we'd be more angry than why we got hurt and we do more. It's just so stupid. But I remember getting pissed off about being hurt and just pushing even further.
Oh yeah, man. When I tore my shoulders apart
Yeah.
because I was pissed
Same.
off, and I'm like, my shoulders were killing me. I could barely work out. So what I do? Doubled the volume.
Yeah, same thing here.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Seriously, man, if he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies.
It was a lot. I think it's a lot of self-loathing, man. It's a lot of like you said, self-hatred. You punishing yourself. I mean, you didn't do anything for the need or deserve, but it's hard to figure out what you're doing to yourself. And I gotta say, I'm blessed. Honestly, my ex-wife, she changed my life a lot. I mean, that's why we're still close and we're still friends. But when I met her, I had such a bad temper, and I saw it. Look, if me and the guy get in a fight, if I fuck some kid up, I don't see it. I got if I was some dude, whatever. When I get angry at a girl, if I snap at her, that's when something's wrong. You're like, oh, losing my temper with a female. I got problems. Something wrong. I can't have this. And I remember, just getting angry at her and being like, oh my God, I got angry at her. She's just quiet. She was a quiet little girl, never said anything to anybody. I remember saying to myself, what am I going to do? Walking on Hillwood Commons, and there's a sign with little tickets for anger management class. I'm like, oh, I'm taking this. So I go to the first class, and they pair you up with somebody, right? The guy they pair me up with is a little white kid, nice kid, little bowl haircut, nice guy. Scenario was we're roommates. He took my car, he crashed it. Whatever. Why would that bother me? It's not real. So he's like, hey, I took your car. We get into it. I'm like, okay. And he's like, I crashed it. I'm like, well, you gonna pay me back? Hey, system, like, fuck you. I'm not paying you back. I snapped. I pulled him from across the table. I was like, you don't ever fucking talk to me that way. You hear me? You don't ever talk to me that way, teacher. Mr. Chima. I'm like, you listen to me, mother. I'll end you. He's like, stop it. She broke us up. She's like, oh, young man, you're going to be here for a long time.
Oh, man.
You were not going anywhere. I had to apologize to him. I was like, I'm so sorry, Anthony. He goes, the fuck, dude? It's not real. I'm like, I know. I'm sorry, man. I just you spoke to me. I couldn't take it. And he's like, so I started from 19 with trying to change myself. But a lot of those changes had to do with her. And then I swear my daughter was born, I became a different person. My baby came in the world, and I don't know if you guys know fathers. When you become a father, something just snaps in you. And you become the best version of yourself. You become like overnight. It's ridiculous. Because you know that you are number one in that person's life. And you want them to look up to you. And, you want them to be the best version you can for that person. It just comes very automatically. Maybe not some people. I was saying in my other podcast before that all I ever wanted growing up was a family, actually. I just wanted to be a husband and a father. Everybody wants something. Like, you want to be a fireman. You want to be this. I didn't have any ambition to be anything, really. Okay, that's not true. I gotta confess something, actually. Can't even fucking tell this story. This is the last confessing story I do. It's kind of embarrassing, actually. In third grade, Mr. Min's class, I had gone to India and I came back.
Was Mr. Min Asian?
No, Mr. Min was actually a white guy with a beard.
White guy with a beard. Mr. Min.
Mr. Min. M-I-N-N.
Wow. Mr. Min.
So I come back from India. Actually, I didn't know we were bankrupt. Actually, we had nothing. My dad's always got closed. He didn't know what the fuck to do. The house was being foreclosed. And I was like, fuck it, let's go to India. Just packed us up and just left in like freaking October. We came back February. Come back. I didn't know any of this, but I had a great time. I never wanted to come back to America ever again. Now things are different. I love this country more than anything. But I come back and Mr. Min gave me a hard time because I was gone for a long time. And you're going to write me a lot of essays. Okay. So in class, he's sitting there, and everybody had read an essay. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I decided to make like a big report out of it, right? So everybody wanted to be a firefighter, policeman, different things. He gets to my report. He comes, he like, come here. What's wrong? He's like, are you sure this is what you want to write about? Like, yes. This is what you want to be when you grow up? Like, yes, absolutely. I really want to be this person. I look up to this person so much. I said, okay, no problem. So I I said nothing. He gives me the report. I got an A. He goes, she goes, trust your parents. So I read my mom and dad. And mom and dad are like, oh, what you want to be? I don't know what they were expecting, right? My dad starts reading it out loud. He goes, when I grow up, I want to be one person. I want to be just like him when I grow up, and I want to be him. I want to be Donald Trump. I swear to fucking God, I'm not even joking. I was like, he's a multi-billionaire. He owns real estate. I want to own a lot of buildings one day, and then take care of everybody. Because at that point, of course, now everybody thinks Trump's the enemy, but back then, Trump was very known for being a kind person. He would give homeless people houses. People were living in his. One lady was living in his apartment, not paying rent forever. Wanted to evict her. He's gonna let her stay, whatever. It's okay. He was a really kind billionaire who came from nowhere. And I looked up to that because he worked really hard to become who he was, and he was well known. But he was good to everybody, and that's what I wanted to be him. And that was this big ass. My dad actually saved it. I think he had somewhere in a briefcase. But it was ironic he became president, and my dad's like, "Huh? Didn't you want to be here?" I'm like, "Huh? I still kind of do." Like, because I'm better politician than he is. He's really bad at that shit. He can't. He's just not good at speaking, unfortunately.
Well, he's not good at controlling his thoughts or
I think
his mouth.
Thing is, in that business, he's never had to.
True.
Because he claimed height at a really young age. He was very young when he became like really popular, rich, everything that the palm of his hands. Every celebrity, everybody kissed his ass 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter. He was in Home Alone the movie. Like he was in Fresh Prince of Bel Air in like 2 episodes. He was everywhere. He was like a household name billionaire. So he never had to really watch his words. What everybody said was, "Oh, he's funny."
Yeah, everybody tells you you're great for
Yeah.
25 years. You're going to start to believe it.
All of a sudden, it's like you gotta watch your mouth.
I must be great. I must be great.
He thinks he's the best, and it's really funny because But I've met him a couple of times. I worked for Related at one time. Related and Trump owned the building together. So when Trump used to have Christmas parties, we'd go there. Plus, my first boss lived at Trump Tower, so I saw Trump all the time. It was very kind. He was very nice. He was always very sweet, very nice to everybody. Shook everybody's hands. I was shocked he didn't drink anything. I was like, "Why he doesn't drink? This is crazy." But cool guy. And then, ironically, when I was working in property management and the last job I was in, I did a lot of budgeting work. I had like an $80 million budget on myself, and I was really good at it. I would save money, made money out of places where there was no money. And I was sitting there telling my ex-wife, I'm like, you know what we need? We need somebody who knows how to make money. Because in the end, the government is just a giant budget. Where the money goes, what it goes to, where it doesn't go to, how it's allocated, what funds it's allocated to, where we can cut costs, where we should keep costs, what's important, and how to produce more money out of that. I did it every single day. Why can't we have that? Donald Trump's going to be president. I'm like, what? No. Now I was like, he doesn't have a chance in hell. He's never going to fucking win. No way. I was the only person. I was at a CNN party that day. On some rooftop with somebody I used to date. Buddy, how are you? You want me to mention you in the podcast? Did you mention me? Did you mention me? I'm mentioning you now. You happy now? I knew her when we were really young. We were dated for a little while. Things went different ways. We were different ways, different parts. But I wanted to meet up with her. That was after I got divorced and I hadn't seen her in years. And she lets me here. And you know my dumbass. I just wear gym clothes everywhere I go. So I show up there like really early. I had to be early for everything. And I know what a rooftop was. And I'm like, can I go up there? He goes, fuck no, dressed like that. What are you wearing? I'm like, but this is a Bev Francis sweatshirt. It's the zip up kind, bro. It's the expensive kind of Bev Francis. He's like, get the fuck out of here. So I had to run down to like 34th Street, buy pants, buy shirts, so spend money. I spent like $400 on like nice clothes.
Oh wow.
And then I came back before she got there and I went upstairs and we were having drinks and everything. There was CNN parties happening for, it was election night. I had no idea. And I was sitting there, everybody's like, oh, Hillary's going to be the new president, blah, blah. I'm like, Trump's going to win.
You had no idea it was election night in 2016?
I didn't care, man.
Wow.
That's how, I'll be honest with you, after Obama, I just stopped caring, bro. I just gave up.
Wow.
I saw the socialism rise. I saw Obamacare. I saw what he wanted, and I just gave up. I've heard this country is dead. There's nothing. I honestly thought we would all just die soon in this country. We just go to communism that be it. I saw no hope whatsoever anymore until that man became president, and everything. My whole world changed the day he became president because I was following him. I knew what he said he was going to do. And he gave like an order of 10 different things he wanted to do the first week. I'm like, people talk a lot of shit, bro. Ain't nobody doing nothing.
Yeah, of course.
I remember he became president. It was 3 in the morning. He reconceived. I celebrated by having a piece of cake at a diner. And I went home. And then I was in school the next day. And I was, at that point, I just had discovered, I didn't even know Ben Shapiro then. I discovered Glenn Beck on Blaze. And I'm hearing him. And day 1, Trump does these like 4 things. Day 2, 4 things. Day 3, 5 things. What the fuck is happening? And by day 5, everybody at the radio is like, yo, is this man the first person to actually do what he said he was going to do? He's literally done 5 huge things in 5 days. Is this, do we actually have somebody who cares about the country? Is this possible? And I was like all ears tuned in. I was like, no, if this guy does this, I'll be shocked. Does it? Ends TPP. I'm like, oh, he aimed at TPP. Holy shit, he just saved the entire economy. I'm like, he cares. And I was hooked all over again. I'm like, wow, there's actually hope for this country. We can be number 1 in this world again. We can be strong. We can have a thriving economy. The middle class is going to grow. Patriotism, people love this country again. We can actually have love for the country again because, you know, when we were growing up, man, nobody hated this country.
Oh, dude.
I don't remember anybody when we were growing up being like, fuck this flag.
Now there was a tremendous amount of patriotism with Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
You know, in the 80s, forget it. Born in the USA, that was huge.
Absolutely.
Huge.
I mean, people love their flags. The movies we watched was Us versus Russia,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Rocky 4, and it was a big deal to be patriotic, and that just fucking
It was a
died.
big deal to be patriotic, man.
We unfortunately we had a president who was walking around the world going, "Yeah, we're American. I'm so sorry. We are the worst. We suck, and we just want to apologize to the world for existing." Constantly fucking going around the world saying we suck. America's shit. We're garbage. We're sorry. I actually apologize watching him. Like, yo, why do you keep saying we suck, bro? You're president. You're the first black president. Shouldn't you be happy? Shouldn't you be like, America's fucking the land, the greatest land in the world? I'm a minority and I became president. And my wife is the first black lady to be Mrs. President, the number
Mrs.
1.
President.
Mrs. President.
Is that the official
First
title?
lady. It should be the official title, by the way. It makes more sense.
Mrs.
But
President.
shouldn't you?
Well, she was Mrs. President.
Yeah.
If
I
you
think
ask some people, I don't know.
But I'm just saying, shouldn't you be proud? And he just kept saying how this country sucks. And then it became, I'll never forget it when Obama said this one day. One day he was giving a speech. And he made it very clear that we are not his people. He said, my people. And he was referring to only African American people. My fucking heart sank. I was like, holy fuck. So I am not anybody he cares about. He's done with us. He's literally freaking put a line in the sand that you are not my people. These are my people, BLM. That's it. The rest of you can all go to fucking hell. And I had to tell you, I just stopped watching the news at that point, man. I gave up completely. I thought there was nothing left. And then this orange man comes along and changes the whole world and just defied everything. His biggest flaw is that he didn't go far enough, man. He really thought that if he just gave in a little bit, he was told by his advisor, hey, listen, don't be a Dutch dick. Give a little. And the second he gave a little, they tried to kill him. I mean, they started this whole Russia thing before he became president. They told him when he was running, you're never going to be president. We're going to take care of this. Everything behind it, if you guys don't know, I'm sure everybody knows all the bullshit by now. Everybody knows Hillary had the dossier made, the Russian dossier. She paid for it. She had it made. And then destroyed her own servers and burned all the freaking emails. She literally broke her phones with a goddamn hammer. She's not in jail. She's fine. But Trump's in jail for classified documents and he was the president of the United States. That's the world we live in now. We live in a banana fucking republic where you can do whatever you want if you're on one side. And if you're on the other side, you're Russell Brand. You're done. You don't live here anymore. You're not a citizen. You don't belong. And a perfect example of that, honestly, if you guys listen to me right now, you live in New York, is New York. The city votes completely fucking dark blue. Long Island votes completely blood red. Long Island is 1 hour from the city. We have no values in common whatsoever. When you go to that city, even education-wise, half of them don't know a damn thing about this country. But you walk around Long Island and ask Long Island kids, they're mad smart. And my daughter goes to Jericho, they know everything about everything. That's the difference between, I hate saying conservative and liberal, but liberals just don't give a shit about education in general. They care about liberal arts. They care about socialism and activism. We care about having our kids grow up intelligent, knowing what's right from wrong, and knowing what's real from fake, and understanding actual history. My daughter came back from school saying Christopher Columbus is a genocidal maniac, bro. Do you remember ever growing up and hearing happy indigenous something grab blah 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 day? I'm like, what the fuck is that? Oh, it was
Indigenous People
Columbus
Day.
Day.
Yeah, it was People Columbus Day.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then at one point, we're suddenly trying to burn down statues and stuff. Are you crazy? I mean, do you know how Orwellian that is? That just means basically erase history so nobody ever sees history again. If we have no statues to remind us who we are, you could literally, from 4 generations now, make up whatever the fuck you want and say whatever you want because you rewrote history because it doesn't exist anymore. That was the point of that, guys. And if you're joining in and being like it's a good idea, you're part of the problem. You guys need to wake the hell up. I keep saying it in every podcast. Wake up. Wake up. Find out what's going on around you, not just in your personal life, but around you in general society. This is the culture we live in right now, and you can make a difference in that culture. It's very important. I told you the podcast is about culture. It's about music, everything that we do, everything we see, movies wise, everything we think. We talk about the gym a lot because it's a part of our life, but it's also part of your social life now too, because it's on Instagram. So me and John were talking about if you're on Instagram or Facebook, you constantly surrounded by people working out, who are half naked, taking pictures of themselves, and like I'm jacked today, or I did this, I did that. It's influencing you. I don't know if it's in a good way or not. John kind of disagreed with me. He said he thinks a little bit in a good way because people are heading towards the gym more, but in a bad way, they're all on steroids because they think it's okay. So I don't know if it's good or bad, Jimmy. Before we go, tell me, would you think the social media hype of working out is good, or do you think it's bad? What do you think? Because we got it for different reasons.
Social media, I think, I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, but it's here, so you have to, here it is. So
I know, but
so I think you also have to remember that Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym is a small pond in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I also work out sometimes at Lifetime across the street.
Right,
it's a completely different vibe.
You're right.
Totally different vibe. People
You're right.
there aren't on steroids.
You're right.
They don't train like we train. They don't talk about the perfect example is I was at Bev's. Sometimes I go back and forth because I train I train full body. So I train, over 3 hours when I train.
Right.
So sometimes a lot of times I'll start at Bev's and do most of my stuff at Bev's. And then sometimes I'll go to, it's easier to superset or tricep or do a giant set at Lifetime because the stuff is a little closer.
Right.
So together. So I'm listening to people, overhearing people at Bev's talking about diet and steroids and contests and cardio and weightlifting. All right. I'm like, oh, okay. So the same day I go to Lifetime and they're talking about golf and they're talking about, their freaking kids and they're talking about all this kind of, everything but what they're doing, everything but. So I don't think the social media, again, we live in a very small fishbowl. We have to remember that we do live in a very small fishbowl.
Yeah.
And that's not the world around us.
I think I'm also echoing what we do. Like, I know people that watch the Trend Twins, and so do I, to see what they're doing. Which is not good. It's very unhealthy. It's stupid. And people that watch freaking, Greg Duche's podcast daily to see what he's talking about in the world of bodybuilding. But Jamie's right. When I first got out of the hospital and I couldn't walk, guys, I need to learn to walk again. That's how bad it was. I literally couldn't walk. Well, you need a pool. I'm like, oh, the pool. No, Lifetime has a pool. So I went there, and shout out to everybody at Lifetime. God bless you guys. You were awesome. They let me just go inside. They felt so bad for me. They escorted me inside, took me inside. The lifeguard washed off me. It's a fantastic gym. People are very courteous and nice there. Um, it just feels very friendly there. However, it is the opposite of where I go to the gym.
Yeah.
It's the
Well,
opposite of
yeah.
St. Francis. I mean, I remember last time I went there, I don't want to sound sexist right now, and I sound like an asshole actually. Now I think about it, I sound like a guy who just I'm such a typical architect of a man. I drive the big muscle car. It's never big enough, never fast enough, never loud enough. I'm 300 pounds. I wear a 5X shirt. I have a beard. I like violent movies like John Wick. Like I understand I'm the archetype of like man's man. It's kind of pathetic actually, but that being said, I guess that's why it's a problem for me when I go to a gym. I'm looking for a Bev Francis actually, because when I went to Lifetime and I was in the locker room, the guy walks in and goes, "Yo, man, pickleball?" The guy's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Pickleball?" He's like, "I can't play pickleball. I just had the greatest cycling event right now. It was great. Oh my god, the teacher was so good. She was like, 'Let's get it,' and I got it." I'm like, I was there for 5 minutes between that and the Pilates. I was like, I'm fucking out. I gotta go back to bed.
Yeah. Well,
But
it's a different vibe.
Jamie's right. I'm wrong. The world isn't all just like Bev's, but it is a world that's spreading, unfortunately, and it can be good and it can be bad. I just want you guys to all to know that if you're following these people like we follow them, please, with a grain of salt, man. They're doing things to their body. We both had health problems. You heard John Linden as a young man. I have PB Pro, and he's so careful at this point because he knows he's prone to certain diseases, and I'm very proud of him for taking a step back and saying, there was a point actually, I don't know if you noticed, about a year and a half ago, because Johnny's huge, he's big. He actually, if you guys saw the video, he's actually a little smaller now. He's not as he was way bigger last year. Actually, he was even like maybe 20 pounds bigger than this. We were all like, John, you should compete, bro. You should get on stage. And I'm so proud of him for thinking about himself and saying, no. Because what is there to prove? Nothing. What is there to lose? My health. It's not really worth it. And we were talking yesterday, and a big part of that is for all of us, man. I'm going to say it again. The loss of our friend, George Peterson. He was a good friend to all of us. And, I asked him that day he was going to get on stage that day, and he would have won Mr. Olympia. And to hear George is no more, I remember the whole gym crying, man. I remember I walked in and we were all like, we're going to do this workout for him today, and we got through the workouts. But all of us, there wasn't one person who had dry eyes and Bevs that day because he was like a family member to us. So yeah, I'm glad that Johnny didn't do it. And you competed. You know how harsh it is, man.
Yeah, but I also did it drug free.
Yeah, that's true. And there's a big difference between the guys I'm talking about. They're not gonna do it.
No, of course not.
They're gonna end up on like tons of tons of just getting water out of the system with diuretics and stuff, and cause renal failure, all kinds of things. And I'm not gonna name anybody, but another guy I'm friends with still, lives in Florida now. Shout out to him if you're listening to me. He's an awesome dude. He was a power lifter, but when he was at Bev's, he decided to do bodybuilding. He's very strong. He went to the show, and I found out he never went to the show. What happened? Renal failure.
Mm.
And the diuretics and everything, and being too drawn out, and it was too much. And he's lucky he recovered, and he stuck to powerlifting after that. He's a monster, which is good at. But that's the danger when you get on stage, do things yourself. If you guys have nothing to prove, I don't know, man. I don't think even if I could go back in time, I'd want to do that. It's more about proving to myself that I'm worth something, but I can do that with other things. You know, I don't know if they're getting on stage is the right way to do it. And
I
I'm
think
not shitting on anybody, please, if you guys think I am. Those of you who do it, I don't know how the fuck you do it, man. I give you so much credit for dieting down like that, and
it's different for everybody. Like why did I did it for the fun. I just thought it would be fun. I wanted to just have fun.
but you were like a 2% body fat anyway.
Yeah, well, whatever, man. But I,
He,
I
Jimmy was show
trained.
ready 24 hours a day,
I was
literally.
within 4 days of a show
Yeah,
at all for like 7 years, but which I'm not proud to say. It's just the way it was. It's ridiculous, actually. But yeah, but so I just jumped on stage to have fun and had a ball. Um, and it wasn't really to prove anything, but I got my trophy.
yeah,
I got my third place at the Mets, and I got my natural, drug free, and I got my medal, and I got my trophy, my really cool trophy. But I'm satisfied because for me, it was never. It's always about the lifestyle and being a bodybuilder, not so much. You don't have not a
right.
competitive bodybuilder, but a bodybuilder.
And I guess
So I love the life.
it is different for everybody too. You know what's really funny? I was thinking about this. I'm running through John yesterday. John's kind of meant for this stuff. He keeps a low body fat, really always eats healthy. He never has the craving to eat crap.
Yeah.
Since he was a teenager, he's okay with that. I can't live with that freaking garbage food. It sucks. If I don't get a spiced chicken sandwich from Wendy's, I'll kill myself. But I need it. When I was in the hospital, I'll never forget it. I barely survived. And the doctor walks in and he goes, "What the fuck is this? Hostess, cakes, Oreos, soda,
For a diabetic, this is good.
Domino's." He's like, "Are you crazy?"
Domino's.
I was like, "Listen, I almost died. Leave me alone.
Well,
Let me eat
yeah.
what I want to eat." And it was funny. I ordered Domino's every night and I'd feed up the nurses too. I'm like, "I got 4 pounds. That's all I eat." They're like, "We love you, Chima." I'm like, "The best."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, that's that's the world we live in, and it's easy for me to talk about it with you because you live in the same world.
Yeah.
When I have different guests on, it's not the same. We just all have different experiences, but
Yeah.
in so many ways are so similar too. Like just even our attitudes towards life we're similar then, they're similar now too, which is kind of ironic because the way you felt is the way I felt most of my life too.
Yeah.
And you went through something and changed. I went through something and changed, and now we both are the same way again. It's kind of funny how that works out.
Well,
Almost,
remember, I think a lot of things that drive people is, dissatisfaction with whatever it is. If you're like, just for example, I need to learn a different language because I feel inadequate,
right.
and I think what drives a lot of people to do a lot of things is they feel inadequate in whatever they're doing. I want to play checkers. They're inadequate, right? So they feel they need to fill that void. We all fill that void with whatever, and ours happens to be bodybuilding, fitness, and exercise,
Yeah.
right?
It's pretty important. Yeah.
That's we fill that void, whatever it is, and those guys, the people out there, the men and the women, the girls and the guys who are in the same mindset as us. Like I said, we're 30 years beyond what you guys are doing right now.
Yep.
The ones who are obsessed, because you know what? Half of you guys, more than half of you guys, 75, 85, 90% of you guys will not be there when you're our age.
No.
You will be there and gone. And I can name and think about guys and girls who were into it 2 years, all they do is go to the gym, blah, 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 and they're nowhere to be found.
I know guys who went pro and they're gone, man. They
Yeah.
got their pro card, that's it.
Because
Bye.
it wasn't there. It's our passion. It's our life, and it fills our void, whatever that void is. And hopefully, maybe you can fill that void with other things in your life at some point. Right now, you need to go through it.
Yeah.
You got to go through it. It's like trying to teach a kid not to touch the stove. He's going to touch the stove.
Oh, no.
Eventually, tell him as much as you want. He's going to touch the damn stove. So it's the same thing. So maybe, hopefully, what we say can help you a
I
little,
hope so.
but like yourself a little better. Give yourself a break.
Absolutely.
Give yourself a
Love
break.
yourself, for God's sakes, please, because once you do that, if you really, really do that, guys, everything around you changes. You see things totally differently. But before we go, man, speaking of filling a void, I want your advice. Should I even bother trying to be with somebody, or I've been divorced for 9 years, you know that, and I've tried relationships here and there, and sometimes they work out, some they don't work out for many different reasons. I think I'm okay single. I am okay. I'm cool. But there's certain aspects I don't like about being alone. Not emotionally. I guess I should put it that way. You think it's even worth it to even try, man? The way the dating world is out there. Should I even like?
Well, first of all, my first bit of advice to you is to give up the cardboard pizza. That's the freaking.
That's how to turn on the
that's-
girls.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna let's
Yo,
go out to get some pizza.
Let's go to 7-Eleven.
Let's go to 7-Eleven and get some pizza.
You know, Betty, what I really like before we do that. Before we do the dirty, I think we should go to 7-Eleven.
Exactly.
You get the selfie.
So, you're gonna get you're setting yourself up for a certain type of woman if they actually do like that. No, but yes, I think you should always keep yourself in the game. Now, granted, I have never been on. I don't even what is it, Tinder? I don't even know what
God,
any of
there's
those are
so
like.
many at this point.
I've never been on any of those, so I can't say that. But like I said, I do talk to a lot of girls, just because I find it sport. It's fun. And you have told me before, like all these girls are only, and I found out myself, these little girls are only out for money or whatever.
I played that sport for 3 months, and the first question is, what kind of car do you drive?
Yeah, but
That's
there
why-
are nice
that's-
girls out there, man.
And that's why I bring my Nissan Sentra and not my Mustang. Because my Mustang's $70,000 custom car.
Yeah,
So I bring my Nissan Sentra and see what happens after that. And then, yeah, sometimes they're okay now with the money, but let's just say, like I said, they're pretty decent. Then their ideal relationship is we're going to have sex, I have to leave, and then they're going to have sex with whoever they want, but so are we. That's not a relationship, but these women think that's a relationship.
there are nice girls out there, man. I gotta believe it.
I
There
think they're all
are.
taken, man. I think
Nah,
they're
well,
married.
I don't know if they're married. What's the age group you're looking in?
Oh my God! So when this is between 28 and 38 that happened, right? They decided to go my age, right? I'm 44, guys. So I'm like, let me go with somebody my age, right? And oh my God, what a fucking disaster!
Yeah,
right?
why would you do that? That's
They were
that's
like-
just
There's 3 of them, and my God, the hang-ups were. There's one woman, I can never forget it. I'm not trying to make fun of her, but I know she went through a lot. I said one thing at dinner, like jokingly, like just something like not even anything bad, really, really jokingly, nothing.
like.
Start crying.
Well, I thought those young girls are very attractive.
No.
In-
Some
The
sometimes-
middle school girls are very attractive.
Okay.
Oh, that's not what you said?
I swear to God, what I said was, I got it. That's it. I got it.
You got what?
That's it. Whatever was going on, I got this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And she broke down crying
Why?
because her ex-husband used to say that all the time.
Oh, that particular phrase?
Yeah. And it just like destroyed the whole night. And I was like,
Wow.
I don't got it.
Oh, God. You're not
bad.
gonna I'm not getting it?
I'm not getting nothing. I mean, in the end, we started sex anyway. That's not the point. But
Oh, wow.
that was going to happen. But it's another thing, like
So you got it.
I got it, but it's weird, man. Like, I mean, you would think that older women would be better at it, but I find the young women are better at it actually now. It's the opposite when we were growing up. When we were growing up, a young girl didn't know much what she was doing at all because it was like new to her.
Yes.
The older women would take care of things. They would tell you what to do, and you did what you knew that you had to do what they had said. It was
Yeah,
good.
I've been there. I had a.
It was
I
great,
had-
whatever they
yeah, I had
said.
some of that.
Now I'm finding the opposite. The 28 to 30-year-old, 8-year-olds know what they want, know how they want it done, know what they're gonna do, and they can like stay with you for like a couple hours. And the older women are just like, it's like almost like they're like, we'll do anything. It's okay, whatever you want to do. Like, don't you have a preference? No. I'm like, well, that's not very good for you. Like, where's your self-esteem at all? Like, and like.
Whatever kind of music you like.
Yeah, it's like whatever you want to do. You want it this way, it's good. If you come in 30 seconds, it's good. Okay, do it.
Bark like a
It's
dog
okay.
for me. Bark like a
Yeah,
dog for
like,
me.
it's
It's
so-
coming to America, man.
It's so weird to me. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I mean,
Hop on one leg.
there was no confidence. Like, this is what I want to do, or this is what I want from you, or it was like just anything is fine.
These are broken people you're dealing with.
But
Well, unfortunately,
People
it's
my
fortunate
age,
for them.
A lot are.
Of course, they're broken.
I'm just a dumbass that got 10 years of therapy and I'm okay now.
Yeah.
I fixed myself, and I fixed myself not for me. How can I be an amazing parent if I was all
Right.
messed up
It's your
myself?
daughter, of course.
I gotta be like the best of myself so she sees the best version of me. So when she goes forward having relationships, she has healthy ones.
Well, that's an admirable thing to
And
do.
then if she sees me all screwed up, she's like, "Well, my dad was all screwed up because my mom left him, and
Hmm.
that's gonna happen to me too, probably." I always said, "No, it's not gonna happen to you at all. That was a fluke." I was like, "You're just like daddy. So that means you'll be loyal to anybody, and nobody will love you. Don't worry about it." And she sees that, and it keeps her happy. And one thing does actually help her is that women do often approach me and give me the number and stuff. They have to use it. They find me funny for some reason, not funny looking. No, this better than funny looking. And I go, "You're cute." I'm like, "You think to say so?" And then she sees it. Okay, like people still. My dad still has given up.
Don't give up. That's my
He,
advice. Don't give up.
But then last 2 or 3 months, man.
I get it. I mean, I get it. Like I said, I'm not in the game like you are, but
When I started,
I see nice girls. I gotta believe that some of these girls are nice who I talk to.
I see a lot of nice girls and their boyfriends. They're very nice.
And their boyfriends.
And their boyfriends are awesome people. They're
Yeah,
cool
but they're not
too.
marrying these dudes. They're not marrying these dudes
No, but
most
some
of
of
the
them
time.
are pretty serious.
Yeah, for now.
Like there's people in the gym that I'm friends with that I'm cool with that are young guys, and I meet their girlfriends. Their girlfriends are awesome. And I look at them like, oh, no wonder they're together, man. I'm like lucky people.
Yeah.
Like they're good together, and they're nice. This one guy, shout out, oh my god, I forgot, the real sick. Dude, I keep DMing you. Can you DM me back, please? This guy came from Jersey to come to our gym, right? Um, his fiance actually had shoulder pain, and Amit, who works with Justin, told him to come to Long Island to get fixed. I think by Dr. Camp, I think.
Okay.
And to stop by the gym, and this big Punjabi dude, like thick beard like mine, but he had this like long ponytail, like really long, because we're not supposed to cut our hair.
Right, I know.
I thought it looked sick.
Yeah.
I know he was. He could be Spanish, could be Punjabi. I don't know. I just went. I'm like, "Yo, man, I fucking love your hair. That shit's sick." And we started talking. The fiance comes over, and we're all getting along. And I'm like, "Wow, look how lucky they are. They're about to get married, and they're all doing good." But it's so funny. Ironically, he can't wait to get married. It's all good, and she's paranoid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Well, women also don't know what they want." She goes, "I know, I don't." I'm like, "But that's your biggest fear, right? That you'll want more later than you have now." She's like, "That is my biggest fear." I'm like, "Well, you have to learn to appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will end up messing things up." I get them great advice, but in my mind, I'm like, "Well, they have each other. They find each other. Why can't I find somebody like that?" And I don't know if I just don't go out enough. Maybe that's another thing. I'm stuck in this basement for the last 2 weeks. That might not help.
I don't think you're gonna meet anybody down here.
Yeah, that's not gonna help. It's just me and Good Gobinsing over here and the Superman freaking statue. That's about it.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's and if I'm free, I go to the room next door and play Gran Turismo in my freaking racing cockpit, and that's about it. So
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hook up with a girl that way, but
and then when I do, like, I'm very honest about it. Like, the people in the podcast don't know actually. Real quick, we gotta go. My God, we've been on this fucking thing forever. We bore the shit out of people. I had a little brother. He passed away like 7 years ago. And after he passed away, I lived with my parents, and there are times I thought about just I've been working there for 3-4 years. I'm only no money. You can just leave, but I don't know. The thought of leaving my parents after I'm the only child left. Like I worry about them constantly. They don't think I do, but my mom okay. She occupied. She's watching TV. I'm glad she has Netflix now. I think she's watched documentaries. She's busy. My dad's playing golf, so I'm happy for them. But at the same time, I like being there for them too, and I want my freedom, but I want to be there for them. It don't bother me much. I can go out whenever I want. If I wanted to go out, they wouldn't care one bit. But I've always been a homely person in general. When I was married, I loved being home with my wife.
yeah.
I never wanted to go anywhere to spend time with her. If we went anywhere together, we wouldn't go out shopping together, we went to band together. We went everywhere together. So it's part of my nature. So if I started dating someone, that's another thing. I want to prioritize on them. I don't know if I can, man.
Well, you have a daughter, man, so she's got to be your
I'm always
priority. She's got to be.
And that was a problem with somebody else I dated too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I want you the weekend. I'm like, no, the weekend's with my daughter.
Well, you got to make a little time for everybody.
It was hard.
that-
Eventually we went away like a couple of weekends here and there, but it's weird as a parent. I'm like that. I feel guilty if I go somewhere without my daughter. Like I should have gone with her. I should spend time with her.
Yeah.
And that guilty. She's not saying anything to me. She doesn't care.
Mhm.
But it eats me up, man. I feel like, no, if we're going to do it, I'd rather do it with her. I spend time. And she's mad funny. I have a good time with her. Her sense of humor is awesome.
Yeah.
We laugh our asses off together. it's not the same thing as having a girlfriend, or having a wife or a spouse, but in
No,
some ways
it's,
it's better, in some ways it's worse. Some ways it's better because, we get along really well, no matter at the end, we're always there for each other. And in some ways it's worse because, the certain aspects, she's not an adult relationship. She's not, it's not
yeah,
a
she's
partner.
a
She's
kid.
my daughter.
Right. It's a definitely a totally different thing. But so I guess my final advice to you would be enroll in high school, find yourself a girl.
That'll work. I'll become
22 Jump Street.
become the guidance counselor. I hope that'll work out well.
Yeah, there you go.
Let me guide you in the ways.
Oh, come on, man.
Of the Jedi. I don't know what
Of
the
the
hell he was
Jedi,
doing. Of
right.
the
To guide
Jedi.
you in the ways of the
My
Jedi.
young Padawan.
Yeah, awesome.
Tomorrow, tomorrow we're doing a Star Wars podcast with Jeremy.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Yeah.
keep him on track, man.
I
Keep him on track.
was like, dude, this shit better not be but 1978. If we don't leave the 1970s, I'm gonna kick your ass. To leave the 70s behind, we gotta talk about new shit. He's like, I'm like, do your homework. Go watch Ahsoka. Go watch Obi-Wan. Go watch Mandalorian, because the truth is, man, today's kids, my nieces and nephews are watching Star Wars. They've seen the originals, but they're watching The Mandalorian.
They're into the TV stuff.
Yeah, they want to
stuff
watch
on
what's going
Disney.
on right now.
Yeah.
And if we're not talking about that, who's my podcast for? My parents?
Yeah, I don't know. Does he watch that stuff?
Well, I told him you got to watch it if you're coming in on Friday.
All right.
So hopefully he'll watch something. If he didn't, we're going to be talking about it. He might sit here like not knowing anything.
Okay. Yeah,
He's a smart dude. If he
yeah.
watches it, he'll figure it out real quick. He's really good at memorizing things. But I wanted his opinion. And another thing, I think your age plays a role. He went to school at a certain time, at a certain age.
Yeah.
When he went to school, the movies he names are the ones that are the most popular back then.
Porky's.
Yeah. I don't even think he's ever seen Porky's. But Oscar-winning movies, and he's talking about Spielberg and other directors like that, and Richard Kahn, and things that I've seen also. You've also, but that's not I pick Rocky IV with that any day. Like we have different tastes.
Yeah.
He's very artsy and very intelligent. He reminds me of somebody who would be on a chair like the Oscars or Golden Globes. And I'm like the average dude who eats a hot dog while drinking the freaking Coke. I'm like, yeah, knock him out. Get him.
No, you're not. You have more than that in you. You have a lot more than that in you.
I do. I like critiquing things, but I also love the Wham Bam action stuff.
Yeah, me too. Same. Yeah.
My favorite dialogue till today is from Chronicles of Riddick still, I bow to no man. Just because the way Vin Diesel said it with his diva, I bow to no man. I'm like, so manly. I love it. And that's kind of like how I've been in. Honestly, it's influenced my daughter for sure, because she. I'll tell you guys a funny story before I leave, because JPC is going to be on here in 2 days. We're watching TV. There's a cute 15, 16-year-old boy on. My mom was like, "Oh, look, honey, he is cute." She goes, "Grandma, that's a boy. What do you even do with a boy?"
Oh my God.
And I'm like, "Excuse me?" He goes, "I need a guy, who's at least 6 feet tall. He's got to work out. He's got to fight. Hopefully he drives a Harley." I'm like, "Oh, excuse me? Like, what now?" And
She was 13 years old.
She's 13 years old. 13 years old. She's looking for a guy who basically looks like a freaking biker. I'm like, she's like, if he's not like that, he's not a man.
Hook me up. I'm right here, bro.
I think it's I'm looking at Jamie when she's growing up.
It's not a Harley, but it's a big bike. I got a big, nice
I'm
motorcycle.
like, she's describing Uncle Jamie. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Wow.
I mean, it's funny because who she's seen growing up? Me, you, and John.
Yeah.
That's it. John's like 6 foot 2, figured all muscle too.
Yeah.
So I realized how much influence that the people you're around has on you. She doesn't consider that she's not the boys in her class, and she thinks they're cute, but they're little boys. She thinks that if a man can't protect her, he's not a man. And I know that she kind of got that from being around us.
Mm.
It's the influence that whether she sees you once in a while, lifetime or not, still Uncle Jamie. So she has it. When she sees Johnny, she's that's John. That's the guy who owns the store that she hangs out with, and sees that as a man. And we are the only male figure she has, because Dad and her stepdad is different than us. He's not like us at all. He's more of a, I don't know, quote unquote normal guy.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. All right, we have eaten your head up enough. I mean, This is like a record for us. But I hope you guys like it. And if you don't, what you do is you hear part of it today, part of it tomorrow, and part of the day afterwards. Just pause it and go back. That's what I do when I hear a lot of my podcasts. But this is KPC. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back, I don't know, maybe in 2-3 weeks from now, me and Jamie. And, well, I'm sure we'll talk about something else again. This time we'll figure out, maybe we'll talk about cars or something.
Cars, movies, always women.
I know, there's just so much to say about girls.
Yeah.
I was being nice. They didn't even get into it. Maybe next time I'll get into it.
Yeah, yeah.
We're trying to be kind and not have all the women hate our guts.
The women who aren't listening to this podcast. They got no women.
Hopefully it's all men.
Of course it's all men. The only female is your daughter. She's the only one, and, you know, whatever.
Oh, and her mom. Shout out, baby.
Oh, hey, what's up?
All right, peace out, guys.
Sue? All right, later.
Tell your girlfriends about me. It's about time to get rowdy. You know I wanna work that body. Come work it over here. You can be my brown-eyed beauty, and I bet you see right